All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this evening's live commentary stream for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and their race at the Kansas Speedway. And as we begin things off here this evening, this is the first on-track activity we've seen for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series so far this season at Kansas, so far this weekend at Kansas with practice and qualifying that was supposed to be taking place yesterday evening, getting rained out, same with the ARCA race. So they ran the ARCA race earlier today before anything happened with the Cup Series practice and qualifying session shortly thereafter, which we live commentary streamed that, and now we're on to the O'Reilly Series race, and qualifying made up of the metrics based off of the washout, which means that we have some of the top series drivers in points up at the front of the leaderboard to begin things off here today, as well as obviously where they would have finished in the prior week's race, fastest lap from the week before. And as we get into this one here today, I'm trying to find the starting lineup on the big screen for you guys. NASCAR.com's a little bit behind with their raw feed and parts of trying to get the O'Reilly Series back on here again. They keep having the qualifying for the NASCAR Cup side on the big screen for right now. So we might have to come back to that later. There was another week this season where after Cup practice and qualifying, I couldn't get the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series raw feed going until like middle of the race. So at some point it will be available, I'm sure, but not for the start, it appears. So I think I'm going to have to go to my phone. Oh, nope, there we go. Off and running. A little bit behind, but it is now caught up. That's why I just got to constantly refresh my page every couple seconds here before we get going. Now you can see the starting lineup on the big screen. Carson Kvapil on the pole for this one. I believe he had the fastest lap at Bristol last week, had a top 5 finish as well. He's up there in the point standings. He is going to be the pole sitter with qualifying getting rained out yesterday. William Byron, the only Cup regular in the field. You're wondering, well, that 88 car doesn't run every race. Well, the week before, Kyle Larson ended up leading the most laps, winning the first 2 stages in that race. Obviously had a dominant race car, finished in the top 3. William Byron will be starting second in the 88 for Hendrick Motorsports tonight. Second start of the O'Reilly Series season, I believe, for William Byron. Justin Allgaier will be starting in row number 2 inside of that row with Sheldon Creed. Those are the top 2 in points. Hefty points lead for Justin Allgaier as you see that scrolling across the top of the screen. 2 rookies in row number 3, 2 teenagers at that, Brent Cruz and Corey Day, both looking still for the first career wins in the series. William Sawaldt, who got his first career win just a couple weeks ago at Rockingham on the inside of row 4, alongside Parker Retzlaff, who's had a great season thus far, top 10 in points for Viking Motorsports through the first 9 races. That's a quarter of the way through a normal Cup Series season shorter in O'Reilly, even better for him. Jesse Love and Taylor Gray will line up in row number 5. Love, the defending series champion. Taylor Gray still looking for his first win of 2026. Sammy Smith and Ryan Sieg will line up in row number 6. Row 7 with Raja Carruth, who's in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing this week, and Brandon Jones, a former Kansas winner. Austin Hill, Jeb Burton will line up in row number 8. Row 9, Brendan Poole, Jeremy Clements. Row 10, Sam Mayer and former Cup regular Harrison Burton. Blaine Perkins, Dean Thompson in row number 11. Josh Bilicki, Patrick Star-Poli in row 12. Kyle Sieg and Luke Baldwin will be in row number 13. Behind them, row 14, LeVar Scott and Dawson Cram. Ryan Ellis, Josh Williams, row 15. Anthony Alfredo, Nathan Berg, row 16. Row 17 is Joey Gase, Mason Maggio. And row 18, Austin Green, Cole Custer. Custer, the second of 2 Cup regulars in the field alongside Byron. And Blake Lothian rounds out the 37-car field all alone in row number 19. A 37-car field for both the O'Reilly and Cup Series races this weekend. 32 cars were in the field for the ARCA race earlier today. That was the largest field in ARCA history for a race at Kansas, so great to see there. All right, checking pit road times on the pace laps for tonight's race. Kind of dusk hours, if you will, at Kansas Speedway. Local time right around 6 p.m. Eastern, so kind of starting in the day and finishing in the night. This racetrack's going to go through some huge swings, though moderately cool temperatures all day today in Kansas City, Kansas. 61-degree ambient temperature high. This race obviously usually takes place in middle of May, so the fact that it's in early April or mid-April this year, relatively cooler track conditions than what we are used to at this track for this event. all weekend between the O'Reilly and Cup Series races. Jojo Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in. I do have the chat poll open, and that will stay open until the end of Stage 2. Asked you who you think is going to win tonight's race at Kansas for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Got 7 early votes before this race begins. Justin Allgaier leads the way at 43%. He has won 3 races this season out of the first 9. William Byron, the most likely of the 2 Cup regulars to compete for the win tonight at 29%. Somebody other than those 3 that I have in the poll at 29% as well. And Corey Day has not received a vote yet. He is kind of the underdog of the race that I'm looking for. One of the dark horses who I can actually see winning this one here today. Remember, he led laps late at Las Vegas on the first and only mile-and-a-half track this season. He's getting better week by week with his experience in his first full-time rookie season. It seems like every week he's just progressing both in racecraft and speed. This is a track that's going to bode well for him. You're going to be wanting to rip the outside of the racetrack near the wall, and that's something he does well from the dirt racing ranks. Kyle Larson, obviously a great driver here, and Corey Day trying to tackle this track, and he has raced here before in the Craftsman Truck Series. I believe this is his O'Reilly debut at the track, but still he's had laps at this track before. That definitely helps because that is not the case for all tracks he will be seeing in the series this season. Frank Powers, welcome to the stream also. Stage splits today, 45 laps in Stage 1, 45 laps in Stage 2, Stage 3, 110 laps to take us to the distance. One more pace lap before we go green for the start of today's race. For some late-breaking updates, I'll let you listen into the CW broadcast. Adam Alexander back in the booth this weekend with Parker Kligerman and Jamie McMurray. It's Corey Day on the radio.
Miles from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And one of the most entertaining tracks on the circuit. And we talk about the mile-and-a-halves. This is the second of 8 on the schedule, but 3 in the next 6. So when you start to think about trends, opportunities to gain in the chase standings, if you're good on the intermediates, this could be the sweet spot for you as we head toward the summertime.
Yeah, no surprise to see the number 1 of Carson Kvapil take the outside on this restart. That's going to be the preferred lane on most of the restarts. You're looking at
It isn't.
Okay,
you got to make up a lot of distance, and you're betting on that inside car getting loose, so we'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, though, William Byron being on the inside right there hasn't been in an O'Reilly's car in a while, so I don't see him being overly aggressive on this restart, kind of getting a good feel for that. But we're going to find out together.
All right, Kvapil on the outside of row 1, the control car, the pole sitter for tonight's race. Green flag in the air as he gets a great push from behind, and we are off and running. 300-mile race with these 200 laps around the mile-and-a-half oval. Headed their way through turns 1 and 2 as we get up to speed at the Kansas Speedway. Near contact already. Jesse Love sliding up in front of, I believe, William Sawalich in the 18. 4 wide entering turn 3 in the back of the pack still. And as they get their way through turns 3 and 4, near contact again as things are getting sketchy on the opening lap of the race. Rounding off the exit of turn 4, it is going to be Corey Day in the 17 car who had a great jump from row number 2 to get out in front early, and he is pulling away at the end of the first lap. Allgaier to the outside, 3 wide, a spinner in the back half of the pack. The 07 is around bottom lane, turns 1 and 2, down on the apron, sliding, and 1 car up and over, toppling down the back straightaway. It's Carson Kvapil as he is still barrel rolling. At the end of turn 3, what happened to Carson Kvapil under caution? Oh my goodness. Hate to see that. Red flag immediately.
Is Parker Retzloff holding down the pit lane.
That was gnarly.
To the front of that 99 car. It all started with Something we could get raised down in turns 1 and 2, which is initially what we thought brought out this caution. That was far behind. Way behind those guys. Yeah. And Rexloff. So I'm going to flip this car over.
Red flag is out. 2 laps in. AMR safety team is there. Safety crews work really hard to handle these situations. Anytime a car gets upside down, very delicate for them in the way they manage turning this car back over with the driver strapped inside.
Quapple is still in the car. Car sitting upside down currently. Safety crews trying to get the car back on all 4 before they can get Quapple out of the race car. We have not yet seen a replay to see how that starts. Waiting on Quapple and his condition at the moment.
Just for it to, what seems like, what we see live 4 or 5 seconds feels like 4 or 5 minutes inside of the car because you just don't know where the next hit's going to come from. What you really pray for is for it to land on all 4 tires so you can get out. It's so awkward for the drivers to try to get out in this position. It's tough anyway, with all the gear on, and they will want you to do that. If when they get in there, they're going to make sure you're okay and then take this time to flip the car over because it's incredibly difficult to get out, as you mentioned, in this position if you drop away from the seat. But yeah, when you enter the belts, you want to stay fall. Yeah.
And while you obviously want to get the car reset as quickly as you can, because there's a driver inside, you want to be very delicate in how you manage that for the driver's safety. And these safety crews rehearse this so they are prepared for these very situations and to make sure that they are in a good spot to handle it the right way.
And the fear as a driver when this is going on too is fire. Like if this lands upside down or smoke. And fortunately in this situation, we didn't see either of those, and that safety crews are all there in this moment.
Quapple started on the pole, by the way, in this race.
Here we go. It's a 3,400-pound car you're trying to let down as easily and slowly as possible.
Starting to see some movement inside the race car. Great sign. You never want to speculate in these situations. And you saw the AMR safety team, laying down on the asphalt and communicating with Carson inside the car. And we hadn't heard anything on the radio. But you can see he's already got the helmet off, and we're happy to see him moving around.
Yeah, he had unbuckled everything but the seatbelts in the car, got his helmet off, Hans, unhooked, gloves off. That's great to see him getting out. Can't wait to look back and see exactly what caused all this. And we were monitoring the radio and hadn't heard anything, but a lot of times when you have flips like that, the radio is sitting in the inside pocket, it gets dislodged, destroyed, and so the team couldn't even talk to him. Let's take a look back. You see, is that Allgaier to his outside? You see William Byron to his inside right here?
Oh,
He just got a little loose.
wow.
Oh, it's just the contact with the outside wall, and then Retzloff hit him in the rear, and you just don't see that very often at a track of this size, but get a little bit of air under the car, and then you're just along for the ride as those tires start to bite. That's what creates the roll, and you see all the flaps that deploy there to try and keep that car on the ground, but when he gets hit by Retzloff there at that angle, the air gets underneath and sort of isn't able to, the laps are not able to help, yeah, right? Once that air gets underneath, that's a 3,400-pound car that just suddenly flips up, into the air because
looks like a toy.
And it looks almost weightless in some respects.
I will say, though, how fortunate we are in this situation that after he got turned upside down and began the roll, that he wasn't contacted by anyone else, because so many times, especially when you're this close to the restart, traffic is there and drivers simply have nowhere to go. Luckily, no one else hit him when he was flipping and rolling down the back straightaway.
The scariest part of what he went through is that when you get turned sideways and you saw the contact from Retzlaff, is that you lose all controls of the car. The brake pedal no longer works, the steering wheel no longer works, and as a driver, you want to have those controls to control your own destiny, and you don't have that. And I will tell you that when it goes up in the air, it gets quiet. And as I said, what took 4 or 5 seconds for us to watch live on TV feels like an eternity inside the car, and it's a scary feeling for fire, for smoke. Am I going to get trapped? Like what's going to happen? The car's full of fuel right now as well. We just started this race, so the fuel cell's packed, and you're helpless inside of the car. It's one of the scariest feelings you're going to have.
And a lot of times in that moment, you're grabbing your belts and you're just getting as small as you possibly can and trying to, just have all the hits happen and hope they're as soft as can be.
And sometimes when you see those, there's his dad, Travis. How scary is that to watch your kid be out? Travis has been through it all, but to sit and watch that, I can tell you, I have a kid that races, and it just doesn't get any scarier than that.
And it's rare that we see a car get upside down. And we don't see
here.
That.
Yeah, Daytona, Talladega, I feel like we've grown to, you get used to it there. You know that can happen and does every once in a while, but you just don't expect that here. But it's all about the contact of the wall, and then that contact in the left rear from Parker Retzlaff, the timing of that, the air getting under the car. It's a perfect scenario that has to happen.
Scary, scary crash. Lap 2 at Kansas for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Contact William Byron into Carson Quapple. Retzlaff hits the one, and Quapple goes for a ride. Red flag is out. Quapple climbs the car, walks the ambulance.
Still trying. I mean, we're going to have to piece together details of exactly how this happened. I think the caution was out already for the spin in the middle of turns 1 and 2 for the 07 of Josh Bilicki. And I almost wonder if excuse me, I almost wonder if maybe Quapple had lifted off the exit of turn 2 and then Byron got into his left rear. Because to me, it was hard to tell whether or not the one car had gotten loose and turned down across the 88. We did get to see a couple of replays there, but it was very odd, especially on the second lap of the race at that point. Just completed lap 1. Quapple had started on the pole, and Corey Day was able to get by him on the initial start from row 2, lead the opening lap, and then this happened. So, lengthy red flag here to flip Quapple's car over so he can get out under his own power, and luckily he was able to do so. And we're going to have to catch back up with him at some point. Mandatory trip back to the infield care center. As far as the racing side of things go, I don't think they're going to be under a red flag condition for much longer. They've already got the one car towed back on. If there was any fluids that had poured out from the car on the broadcast, I mentioned already with this being the start of the race, the fuel load is going to be packed full. Didn't look like there was anything leaking out of the race car when they flipped it back over. But he is out, which is great to see. Not much assistance by way of getting him out of the race car. Roof was flattened quite a bit, too. Pancaking across the asphalt. About 2.5 rolls. No grass at the Kansas Speedway on the back straightaway, so he'll be sore in the morning, that's for sure. Any flips we've seen in recent years, like Chris Buescher, Charlotte talking about that flip being worse than the one that he had at Talladega just because of landing on the pavement as many times as he did there over and over again. Quite a bit of damage sustained to the one car. And not a crash you see at the Kansas Speedway often, though of any of the mile-and-a-half tracks, we have seen flips in this series at this track before. Anthony Alfredo actually went upside down on a restart in turns 1 and 2 here at Kansas just a few years ago. And even when we saw it then, not something you expect to see only just a few years later.
Crash coming off turn 2 and down the back straightaway.
Still under red flag conditions, by the way.
Coming off the corner, and the first thing we saw was this: Josh Bilicki in the 07.
Yeah, he's gonna come down into Luke Baldwin there. The 5, just an awkward angle into the corner, into turn 1. Spins at the same time that this was happening. Carson Quample's flipping down the backstretch. Creed, who had to start in the rear.
Yeah, see, like,
Get slowed down.
I'm waiting to hear Quapple's side of the story just to see if he had lifted.
He's going to get up here and see Carson will just rolling down the backstretch. These last hits, these are some of the most vicious. The cross-finish going there, and you don't know where the impact's going to come from. You're flipping it. It's like your eyes are closed and you're getting punched in the face. You just don't know if it's coming from the left or the right. And if you can brace for it, if you're going to hit the wall like from a blown tire, you brace a little bit. You know when that impact's going to happen. When you're flipping like that, you don't.
Byron, right there when all this began. Let's get a little 88 radio.
All right, welcome. We're in 3-wide lane, and already came off the corner. 3 wide, and it was already cut my trajectory up. Well, I mean, this is why we love Kansas, is because of all the options. You see, Allgaier has this massive run on the outside.
Oh, yeah, 88 definitely drifted up.
So if the 7th one is outside, probably slides up just a little bit more. It's all about, at this track, those gaps on the outside, the holes get filled super quick. And you can see it right there. Carson almost reacted to it. Well, he reacts to the 7 Allgaier on the outside at the same time William Byron was coming up the track, and the two just meet at the wrong place and the wrong time. Yeah, there's a lot of accidents you can blame on someone, but this is just a racing deal. 100%. You mentioned it. That was a great angle right there. You can see of the 1 starting to turn down because he knows the 7 is going to be on his outside. Allgaier has that big run. You see right there. Just the 1 sort of goes to the left just a little bit because he's almost caught off guard by the 7 of Allgaier at the same time that William Byron was sort of releasing the wheel, just letting that car actually exit the corner.
Man,
vicious hits.
Again, if you're just tuning in, Carson did climb from the race car, walk to the ambulance under his own power. He'll go to the infield care center to be evaluated there.
The moment that we do get an interview, hopefully we do, with Quapple, that means nothing injury-wise has happened. I'll let you listen in.
And Corey was aggressive from the get-go. They threw the green flag. He was giving a massive shove to the car in front of him. Front row on the outside of the 1 of Carson Quapple. And, Parker, you talked about him being a guy to watch. I think back to Vegas. We saw him have all these
mentioned that in the pre-race.
Get to Vegas, he leads late, and we're all like, it's going to be his day. Like, he and Adam Wall have done a great job of getting that car better throughout the race. I think he's done an exceptional job this year. We'll take a look back here at the start of the race. And you mentioned him being aggressive. He was right in the rear bumper of Waffle as they got in the restart zone. And you can see that 17 just go to the outside. That's where everyone in Cup qualifying was up there. Gets to the outside, his right rear, has a huge amount of momentum and clears both him and William Byron to take the lead. The outside can work for you here at Kansas, especially on the restarts, but you're almost betting on having that momentum on the exit. He definitely had that.
Red flag was 12 minutes and 9 seconds. Let's hear from Carson Quapple down to Dillon.
There we go.
Yeah, he is out of the infield care center, says he's okay. What did that feel like or sound like? I mean, what was that moment like for you when that all unfolded?
Not too fun. I actually didn't think he was gonna flip over like that, but once I started doing that, it didn't really seem too bad. My biggest thing is I just hate it for this whole #1 Bass Pro Shops team. Rodney, these guys, they brought a really fast race car, and it was just hoping to get through the first couple laps and kind of sort it out and kind of fall in line, right? And we didn't really get to that point, but all in all, it was a one heck of a ride. I was not ready for that, but just hate it for all the guys again. And everyone at the Junior Motorsports Race Shop, Hendrick Motors, everybody in the Fab Shop. That was a pretty big one, so really hate it for all them.
Did you feel like that everybody was giving each other enough room there at that point in the race?
I mean, I feel like yes and no, right? I thought we were all pretty aggressive to start, and thought the 17 was going to stay behind me probably, but it seemed like the top really had some good grip, and I was just trying to get through the first lap or two. Honestly, I was probably going to move up the next corner to get up and block runs, but the 7th got outside me there off of 2, and I guess the 88 didn't realize we were 3 wide or got me there. It was hard to tell, so just got tight and didn't work out.
Thanks, Carson. Glad you're okay. Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, guys, if you're watching at home, there was no practice in qualifying yesterday. So these are the first laps these guys have run on the track since we've been to Kansas Speedway. And without a doubt, when you start practice, sometimes the splitter can be a little low, a little high. Some cars are gonna have more grip, have less grip. There was no qualifying, so you've got different cars, maybe in a position that they wouldn't be typically at the start of the race.
Let's go back down to Dillon.
Yeah, Parker Retzloff was the other car that just was kind of a victim of circumstance there throughout that whole thing. What did you see, and did you have any time to react at all?
No, I didn't really have any time to react about it. I don't know, just very aggressive start and just, I guess, cause a wreck that really wasn't necessary to happen that early in the race. We knew we had a comp caution at 20 laps into the race, and wrecked basically 2 or 3 good cars just, I guess, coming up and just causing a big wreck, and just glad Carson's okay. I mean, that's a wild ride down the backstretch, and I didn't, I tried to get slowed down, just couldn't get slowed down enough. Just more, upset for all the guys on the Viking Motorsports number 99 Jet Monroe car. This weekend, I thought we had a really good car. We moved up there early and just, just get damage and knock all the oil pressure out of it. So overall, just say, it's a bad weekend, and we'll come back next week and try to be strong again.
All right, advancing out of the restart, Corey Day is going to be the leader after leading the first few laps of the race. Right before that caution ended up coming out on lap 2. Teammate of his, Justin Allgaier, down on the inside of row 1, and then Byron Taylor Gray in row 2. Back to racing. Down around the bottom of the racetrack is Corey Day. Through turns 1 and 2, getting up to speed. Face of action by Jesse Love to the inside lane. A little bit of a tire rub, it looked like, on the 2 car. William Byron chopping off. And he's put 3 wide middle off the exit of turn 4 between Jesse Love and Brandon Jones to his outside. Byron dropping like a rock. He does have some right front fender damage after the contact with Quapple, causing the last crash. And I wonder if the aerodynamic defects of that contact and the slight damage to the right front are hindering his speed, because he is dropping back like a rock. And obviously, being a Cup regular in the field, you wouldn't expect that. Hot pursuit for Justin Allgaier to the back of Corey Day, after Corey Day now has led the first 2 laps following the restart. We're currently working lap 8 of 45 in stage 1. Ryan Sieg sets the fastest lap of the race at the end of lap number 7. He is in the 4th place position and looking strong early in the number 39. Family-owned team. Sieg, a longtime veteran of the O'Reilly Series. An O'Reilly Series lifer, if you will. I also want to mention Carson Kvapil was one of the, I keep wanting to say Xfinity Dash for Cash, one of the O'Reilly Dash for Cash competitors going for that $100,000 bonus here today. Got to be the best of the 4 finishers, and those 4 drivers were the top 4 finishers from last week. That's how you qualify for the Dash for Cash. Last week was the first race of 3 in the Dash for Cash, and unfortunately he is taken out of this one early. Justin Allgaier, one of the Dash for Cash competitors, leads the way right now. The other's Brent Cruz, battling for 10th with Austin Hill, and just outside the top 20, Sheldon Creed in the 00. Trying to work his way forward after dropping to the back of the field in the early laps of this race. I believe started at the rear of the field, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Mayer with a blistering run off the outside of turns 1 and 2, pulling past the 88, who loses yet another position. Byron now back to 8th place after starting in row number 1. He was the 2nd place starter. Pole sitter Carson Kvapil already out of the race. Unfortunately for Parker Retzlaff, who was the car that hit the back of the one of Kvapil, he too is out. Both Kvapil, Retzlaff top 10 in points coming in, and a huge blow for that 99 team who came in top 10 in points. Obviously, that is an underdog team, if you will, to be top 10 in points this early in the season. I shouldn't even say this early in the season, 9 races into the season, even more so impressive. It's not like we're only a handful of races in, everything's still tight. They have put consistency up over the course of nearly 3 full months worth of action, and unfortunately tonight not going to get a really fair chance at things with that early crash happening in front of him and nowhere to go. Luke Baldwin also had pulled off the racetrack during the caution period, so we do have 3 cars in the garage. Blake Lothian 2 laps ago has just pulled into the pits. So mechanical gremlins and crashes taking some drivers out of the race in the first 12 laps out of the 37 that started. 4 of them are already off the lead lap. 13 laps in, Corey Day has led them all. He's got a 0.6 of a second lead over Justin Allgaier, 1.7 seconds over third Taylor Gray, 2.3 seconds to Ryan Sieg in fourth, and Brandon Jones 2.5 seconds back in fifth. Jesse Love in 6th place is 3.1 seconds out of the lead. Sam Mayer 5 seconds back in 8th. There's Sam Mayer in 7th, then Byron 8th. Byron 6 seconds back. Brent Cruz, the rookie, 6.3 back in 9th, and Sammy Smith 6.7 seconds back, rounding out the top 10. Biggest mover since this restart at lap number 6. Sam Mayer already up 6 positions to 7th place. 10 spots gained for Sheldon Creed, who started deep in the field from 28th to 18th already in the first handful of laps. And Cole Custer, the other Cup regular in the field with Byron, up 10 positions as well in the 0. He is in 21st. Short run speed looked good for the 17 to get that early jump and get to the lead like he did. He was under pressure from Justin Allgaier on the next short run when they had a heat cycle in the tires. And Allgaier was all over the back of the 17 looking for a way around to make that pass for the lead. He has since now dropped back. And that last time by, for instance, about a full second, 1/10 of a second faster for Corey Day. And he was the quickest car on the racetrack with that clean air advantage. I didn't know who to pick for this race tonight, to be completely honest. So I'm not going to say I picked Corey Day, but I was feeling pretty confident about his ability at this kind of a racetrack and seeing what he was able to do a 1.5 miles at Las Vegas in his first go at it. The rookie 19-year-old looking for that first career win, obviously. Keeps getting better and better every week, up to 4th in points now in his rookie season. And a win here could honestly vault him up to 2nd with how close things are from about 2nd through 8th in the standings or so. Entering tonight's action. Already race number 10, no off weeks yet for the O'Reilly Series so far this season. We have seen 1 off week for Cup and a few now for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Jesse Love getting through to 5th place, passing Ryan Sieg, who had that blistering fast start. Sieg set the fastest lap of the race in the early going. Still has it at lap number 18. Great fire-off short run speed for Sieg, but probably struggling a bit on the long run side of things since then. He's dropped 3 positions. Quickest car on the track that last lap was actually Brandon Jones in 3rd, faster than even Corey Day, who still leads the way. And Allgaier down to a 0.5 second out of the lead, so he started to hound the 17 car those first couple of laps, and now, after slipping back a bit, is eating back into the lead some more again. First laps of these cars on track, so they haven't been able to make adjustments all weekend with practice and qualifying getting rained out yesterday. And showing a replay of race leader Corey Day, he actually got up against the wall off the exit of turn 4 just a couple laps ago, so that could be part of the problem for the 17 as to why the 7 is starting to reel him in. How much damage is on that right rear corner panel? Seems like it's slowing him down a bit. We saw the slight damage slowing down the other HendrickCars.com Chevy of Byron already. That more on the right front, this more kind of pancaking the side. It didn't look like it was that hard of a hit, but these bodies very sensitive on these O'Reilly Series race cars. Easy to crunch the corner panels in. Have not seen a tire rub on the 17, so that side of it is good, but Justin Allgaier is there again. Second battle for the lead already in the first 20 laps of the race. He's got about a 2-car length lead, if that, over Allgaier. And Brandon Jones still continues as the fastest car on track. 0.3 faster than both Day and Allgaier that last lap. He's now only 1.6 seconds out of the lead. 6.3 average finish for Allgaier. Obviously had a huge points lead coming into this race. 130 points ahead, nearly 2 full races worth of winning all 3 stages. It's about his gap over Sheldon Creed, who sits second in the standings. Creed himself does have a win this year. Allgaier with 3. Most stage points of any driver by a huge margin. Almost 1 full race worth of stage points alone. Ahead. Caution lights are on for the second time today. Waiting to see what the incident's for this time. Actually, I believe this is the competition caution because practice and qualifying had gotten rained out yesterday. So first chance to make some adjustments for these teams. And we'll likely see pit stops for the first time. So competition caution at the end of lap 20. The reason for our second yellow. All right, well, Corey Day's led them all. Justin Allgaier putting up a good fight early on and leading the Dash for Cash race, which is now dwindled down to 3 of the original 4 drivers, with Quapple having that scary crash on lap number 2. Brandon Jones sits in the 3rd place position, Taylor Gray 4th, Jesse Love 5th, and Ryan Segan 6th at the time of the yellow. So first pit stops of the night upcoming here shortly. And we'll take a quick break while we await that. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's O'Reilly Series race at Kansas. Shoutouts to those of you watching the stream here today. We got Bam Hall, Michael Turner, Rima in the chat, AJ Summers, Frederico Sanchez, JoJo, Steve, Robert Goodrich, Bond 1771, Frank Powers. We've got Common Sense Juan. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sue Brown, welcome to the stream. Visual purposes, the race on your local CW affiliate, as is every O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race all season long. It'll be that way for the next 5 seasons after this yet, too. Part of their TV deal signed a couple years ago.
Love was able to get up inside the top 5. Sam Mayer on the move up to William Byron started on the front row, has fallen back to 8, but a little damage on the right front when he got into Carson Quapple. Don't know what that could do to upset the aerodynamics of that car. Now look at Brent Cruz. Here's a driver that had never been to a mile and a half. You get 20 laps, you get a reset here, and he's running 9. Just a real positive start, I would say, for him to start understanding what aero's all about at an intermediate.
So impressive, and to think he's never been on a track of this size, not in ARCA, not in trucks, not in the O'Reilly Series, and this is such a different form of racing, these mile and a halves, in terms of how much aero and how much aero effects there are and how much you have to learn, and drivers spend careers trying to understand the aero effects of these cars and where to place them, and he had just a a handful of laps to figure that out and did a great job. And I saw a lot of maturity out of Brent Cruz at the start of the race. When we went down into turn one, we were talking about Corey Day taking the lead, but if we watched Brent Cruz, he somewhat babied it in there to make sure he could feel his car out where it needed to be, didn't overdrive it, and I think that shows a lot of maturity.
No denying his talent, but he's also a student of the game. You used the word maturity, just turned 18 last month, which what a smart guy he is and his ability to adapt on the fly.
Not a lot of mature 18-year-olds out there.
She's Justin on the screen, so the balance is pretty good. 20 under Overstreet, I don't want you to change. We'll make a small air pressure adjustment just to keep up with the fall off and the cool conditions.
See Brandon Jones stopping his stock in the middle of your screen. He said, I kept building tight center exit. He said, but I love my entry, so don't hurt that. They'll take tires, fuel, slight air pressure adjustment. Corey Day there at the bottom, fighting tight up. He said, I definitely need more turn, but he said, I was beating my stuff up there running the top. I definitely need to make it live longer.
And now the progressive race off pit road. And Brandon Jones just right on cue. +2, Day goes to second. Allgaier lost a couple of spots. And Brent Cruz maintains on track, and the pit crew gets him 4 positions on the pit lane. So Brandon Jones, last year's winner, going to be in charge of the field when we get the restart. And this was key, winning the race off pit road to get ahead of the curve here in Kansas.
Yeah, I didn't even think about mentioning that. Yeah, Zane Smith flipped in the Cup race at Kansas last fall. Didn't even think about that. First one that popped to my mind was the Anthony Alfredo one from a few years ago, but at the same time, that was in this series. But yeah, Cup Series racing last year. Zane Smith had a flip in turns 3 and 4. I would say the Zane Smith and Anthony Alfredo ones were very much more similar. This was kind of a unique kind of crash for Wapple. I haven't seen one quite like it, if not before, at least in quite some time. I don't think I've seen that kind of a crash on a 1.5-mile track where a car hits head on, air catches underneath the car. We've seen crashes like that, but then actually getting clipped from behind enough so that air gets underneath the car and topples it over. So Brandon Jones wins the race off of pit road. He will be the leader. Justin Allgaier losing 4 spots in the pits, and that was a large part of a 14.8-second pit stop. Pretty slow for that 7 team. Brandon Jones, I believe, correction, 14.3-second pit stop for Justin Allgaier, 12.8 for Jones. 2.5 faster. That's quite a bit of a difference. Jones was in 3rd. Gained 2 spots. He's now the leader. Corey Day, net loss, I should say, 1 spot as well, just because of how fast that 20 team was. And slow stop for Allgaier. So we're going to be past halfway through stage 1 when we get the restart. Again, competition caution at lap 20. That's just because practice and qualifying got rained out yesterday. So this is the first laps for these cars on track all weekend long. Chance to make some adjustments for the first time. Probably going to have 20 laps to go or less in stage number 1 when we get back going. 45 lap total in this first stage. So a couple of lead changes so far, with Corey Day taking the lead on lap 1 from the pole sitter Quapple. Quapple from the pole did not lead any laps before his departure from the race in the lap 2 crash. All right. And they're back from commercial. Damn! Yeah, it's getting dark because it's getting dark.
Indiana or Missouri, and there's a thunderstorm coming, you just go sit on your porch and look out to the west and watch it. That's good enough. Yeah. Couple of penalties here. 45 LeVar Scott, 32 Raja Caruth over the wall too soon. So they go to the rear for the restart.
Got a new player in the front. Brandon Jones. Gonna be fun to see what he's able to do. And Parker, we noticed, if you pay attention to the racetrack right here, look how clean it is on the bottom and all the rubber you see around the top. Bottom's going to have a ton of grip right here on this restart.
And he chose the outside as restarts last year. They didn't always work for him. Hey, so let's see.
Yeah, Brandon Jones struggling on restarts so far this season from what I've noticed when he's been on the front row. We'll see how he does this time around at Kansas. Green flag back in the air, and right now staying even with him on the start is his teammate Taylor Gray down to the bottom of the racetrack. Jones going to hold that 54 pretty tightly, which is going to help the corner exit for Jones, and Jones pulls clear out of turn 2. Allgaier quickly back into third. He'll bump draft the 54 down the backstretch, trying to keep the momentum up, and now make a move to the inside for second. More in that middle groove of the track, though, is Allgaier. And almost sneaking underneath of him was Corey Day. Tight quarters racing again through 3 and 4. Very aggressive start to this race so far. Especially when we get going on these restarts, first lap and a half to 2 laps in. One crash already. Few cars out of the race. Brent Cruz up to 5th place on the restart, just 2 spots out of that dash for cash, $100,000 bonus position between he and Allgaier. Joe Gibbs Racing 1-2 at the front of the field. Probably going to see that a lot in tomorrow's Cup race. Brandon Jones setting the fastest lap of the day with a 31.311. I'm interested to see, 31.045 for Brandon Jones, fastest lap of the race. And I think we're going to see the fastest lap of the race continue to get faster and faster as the race progresses, and these teams actually making the adjustments not only for the first time today, but the track conditions are going to continue to cool off a bit as we get into the full nighttime skies. Jones was the fastest car on the racetrack just before the caution came out, so his pit crew winning him that race off pit road is massive. Now he's got not only the fastest car, but the clean air, and you're not really seeing Justin Allgaier and Corey Day be able to keep up with him. They're already over 2 seconds out of the lead, and currently in a battle with one another. Corey Day took off on that short run, obviously ran away from Allgaier a bit, then Allgaier was starting to run him down before the caution after Day had made contact with the wall. Part of this slower stop, I'm sure, for Corey Day was they were having to pull out that right rear fender just to make sure there's a little bit more clearance with the new tire on there. Slide job by Day inside of turns 1 and 2. From the bottom all the way to the top, nearly got the wall, had to lift off corner exit. Allgaier crosses him back over and takes 3rd place again. This intense battle has now brought Brent Cruz in the mix. And Cruz to the inside of Corey Day through 3 and 4. Day chops the corner off. Maybe forcing the 19 to have to counter his line just a little bit more off the exit of turn 4. Tighter exit for Cruz. Can't get the drive off, nor the speed off the banking, and Day will prevent from getting past and holds on to 4th. Now almost 2.5 seconds back is Allgaier, and almost 3 seconds back for Corey Day because of that tight battle and a slide job that I wouldn't say went wrong because he didn't get up against the wall, but it wasn't perfect because he lost so much momentum having to lift to keep it off the fence that he couldn't hold his position. Went back to the bottom of the track through 3 and 4 again. Did not make the pass, and here comes Cruz to the back bumper of Day into turns 1 and 2. And now Cruz takes his shot through 1 and 2 to try to make this pass on Corey Day for 4th place, and he's not going to be able to do so successfully either. Top 10 in the running order with about 11 laps to go in Stage 1 has Brandon Jones in the lead, Taylor Gray 2nd, Justin Allgaier 3rd. 4th place is Corey Day. 5th place is Brent Cruz. Austin Hill in 6th, Jesse Love 7th, William Sawalich 8th, Sam Mayer 9th, Sammy Smith rounds out the top 10. Side-by-side commercial break on the CW right now. You're listening live KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race. Sport is dangerous, that is for sure. Seeing your guys' comments from the flip from earlier. Almost sounds like Logano's 09 Dover rule. Logano rolled so many times in that crash. For a 1 mile racetrack, especially. The steep banking at Dover probably led hands to that with that crash starting at the top of the banking. I guess he had to get back down to the bottom at some point. Just wasn't expecting it to be on his lid. Austin Hill running better this week than he has in the last couple. That 21 car has been mediocre at best between Bristol and Martinsville on the short tracks, but back to running at or near full strength this week. Currently in the battle for 6th with his teammate Jesse Love. Just good to see him back in the top 10 again. Great crossover move in that battle. Love with a slide job through 3 and 4. Middle of the corner, the 21 cut to the bottom to quickly get back to the inside. Got 8 laps to go in the stage. And they're still tightly battling side by side. Now down the back straightaway, Hill with a slight side draft to the inside of the 2. Pulls past the 2 with the same side draft now to the right rear corner panel. Now outer lane with the 21. Big bobble by Hill, and he slides sideways after contact with his teammate. Caution flag is out again, and a big hit to the driver's side door by the 18 of William Sawalich, who was spinning trying to miss the crash and piled into it at the end. Yikes. Car owner's worst nightmare when he sees 2 of his own cars battling for position. That was an aggressive battle gone wrong, and Austin Hill with quite significant damage, and obviously for Sawalich, he's going to be done for the day for sure after that T-boned collision with Austin Hill's race car. Yeah. Oof. Hill clipped the apron quite a bit, though.
Austin Hill, this is one of his better tracks. They needed to get things going in the right direction, and now this.
And for William Sawalich, you have a choice to make when you see cars spinning, which is go to the bottom or the top. Make the wrong choice here. Turns to go to the bottom.
But Sam Mayer, I mean, watch Mayer. As all this happens, he's able to drive around the outside, and it works out for him.
And one more thing there for Austin Hill, you see his left sides were on the white line, almost the splitter touches the apron a little bit, and that causes the car to de-wedge and get a little bit looser, but it really was when Jesse got to his right rear and took that air off of him, trying to keep the position, that it was almost an overly aggressive move by his teammate. Yeah, and when the 18 hit Austin Hill, you saw the left rear tire get shoved in and spin all that rear suspension. You see that tire sticking out of the right rear. That's going to be really hard to fix. Let's hear what Austin Hill thought about the situation.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, when you watch it on TV, you're going to see the same that we did. It looked like you got pinched down a little bit, and it makes it even harder when it is your teammate, especially harder when you come to a track that's as wide as this. A lot of options there.
It's a wide track. Why are you racing on top of each other?
Jesse did, but
On lap 38? When you're teammates.
Earlier in the race, there's almost an etiquette to say, hey, I'm not going to be that aggressive right now, or just just figuring our stuff out. It's still early, but that's why, you know, when he references, I'll remember that. That's a move that you think, hey, that was probably too much. Well, and your teammate, through my years of racing, your teammate was either the easiest guy for you to race or the hardest. Yeah. And with these two guys, there's no give. You see, look at this, pit road's open. I wondered how teams would manage this. And, boy, a good number of cars inside the top 10. A few of
Yeah,
them
pit now and then stay out at the caution. The stage yellow.
And they on the first tight mid-center, so Danny Stockman took a round out of the left rear and made an air pressure adjustment just to try to stay ahead of things. That was a positive change. Jesse came on the radio and said the car is better. Just right sides there for the two as he tries to merge back into traffic. All right, so you see him coming off the lane there, and Dylan referenced the service. I think it was two cars that were inside the top 10 that gave up position to make a pit stop. We'll follow up on where everyone is for the restart to hit stage one. First, let's go to the CW garage at Carla.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, it's been quite the week for the 21 and quite the season so far as they're trying to find some consistency. Austin Hill told me they came into this race trying to look for consistency, trying to find anything. He said, look, it's not a lack of effort by my team. We're trying to find anything that we can to really find something here with this 21 team. Of course, they're not going to get that done today. Currently 6th in the chase standings right now. He said that was kind of a negative, especially because they led in the early weeks of the race, but said, you know, we're not quite where we want to be. They're going to be losing some ground on the chase standings today.
Yeah, no doubt, adverse times. I mean, you look at the last 4 races, one RCR car finished inside the top 10, and, you know, Jesse Love, who came down here and made the pit stop, has not been in the top 10 since he had that comeback at Las Vegas, our last mile-and-a-half race. By the way, we did confirm. I saw Alfredo come down. I thought he had snuck into the top 10. He had not. So the only driver that was actually in the top 10 to give up position and come down and get service
Jesse Love.
Yep.
Yep.
Rest of the race for the 18 this fall. He's still be out there, but massive damage to the front of that car. What a crazy start to this race. We do no practice, no qualifying, cold temps, heading in the nighttime for the first time in a long time at this racetrack. Get the chooser with 4 to go in the stage. So you'll get the restart with 3. Well executed by NASCAR to get everything where it needed to be. Open the pit lane, get a little restart. Fun little run, the green and white checkered flag to hit stage 1. Yeah, you see Brandon Jones shows the outside again. These are some of the most challenging restarts these drivers are going to have with the older tires. Kansas, it's a great service because it wears tires out, but just trying to get the momentum going on the restart, it's so hard. We see so many people spin the tires here, and you have to be very disciplined as a driver to get that momentum and not have wheel spin. And if you're further back in the top 10 and outside the top 10, you got to be really eyes up in terms of checkups, because when guys start spinning tires, there's awkward checkups in the accordion effect, and you can smash up the front of a race car really easily. Look who's back there in row 4, Sheldon Creed. Starts in the back, had the inspection problems. They've been helped with some attrition, but he's driven his way into the top 10. And in position to get stage points. Really was outstanding in the stage point category last Saturday night in Bristol, Tennessee. Well, he's been as consistent as the 17 of Corey Day. You know, those guys, top 5, top 10 every single week on the 00. Incredible start to the year for both those drivers.
Second in points for a reason is Sheldon Creed. 3 laps to go on the restart. A little green-white checker to the end of stage number 1. And the top portion of the field staying out on old tires, going for those stage points. Green flag back in the air. See if Taylor Gray can have a bit better of a restart this time. Corey Day giving him a great shot, just as he was doing on the opening start of the race with Carson Kvapil, though Gray had to have a big lift on the inside lane of the racetrack, getting through turns 1 and 2, lost some ground. Jones is clear again. Side by side for third between Day and Allgaier, and I think the side draft slowed the 7 down enough. The 54 of Gray was able to get high, take Allgaier's line away, allowing out for Corey Day to get to the inside of the 54. Contact made as Day washed up into him. Allgaier splits the middle, 3 wide for second into turn 1. 2 cars colliding, creating for better speed advantage down the front stretch for Justin Allgaier, but he has a big loose moment in 1 and 2, has to make a save. And not only loses the battle with Corey Day, but about to lose a third place position potentially to Taylor Gray. That doesn't happen. Allgaier is going to be able to fend him off, and all those on fresh tires are about to eat up the 54 and the 7 on this final lap of the stage. Top two have quite the separation between themselves and the cars on fresh tires. They'll be able to hold on. Jesse Love, who pitted from the top 10, is already up now to 4th as he gets by Gray through turns 1 and 2. Anthony Alfredo to the inside of the 54. Here comes Sheldon Creed in the 00 as well. Love to the inside of Allgaier now through 3 and 4 to try to get to 3rd on the final corner of the final lap of the stage. Not going to get him. Top 2 run away with it, and it is a stage win for Brandon Jones in the 20. Corey Day 2nd, Justin Allgaier 3rd, Jesse Love in 4th, and Anthony Alfredo sneaks into 5th place. Taylor Gray 6th, 7th for Sheldon Creed, Brent Cruz 8th, Jeb Burton 9th, and William Byron rounds out the top 10 stage points for those top 10 positions. 10 points for first down to 1 point for 10th. Obviously, Byron in 10th place not going to get a stage point because he's running for cup points and not O'Reilly points. But all the O'Reilly regulars in the top 10, which would have been everybody else filling out the top 9 spots, will get their points. Brandon Jones 8th in points coming into the day, 195 out of 1st, but only 65 out of 2nd. Stage win goes a long ways. Jones has only led 15 laps through the first 9 races combined to start the season, and already today he has led, I believe, more than that. Yeah, 23 laps led in stage 1 for Brandon Jones. Definitely his best race of the season thus far, looking sporty in the early laps. It's just a matter of can the team stay ahead of the racetrack now with all these teams making their adjustments through the first pit stop or 2 of the race, and he's probably going to lose some track position pitting during the stage because of staying out to get those 10 points. Jesse Love should be the leader when we get back to racing again, as he was first in the running order of those that pitted during the last caution. 4th yellow already of the day, 3 for incident in stage 1. I should say 2 for incident and then a competition caution at lap 20 as well. A red flag for 12 minutes and 9 seconds after a lap 2 flip down the back straightaway and a couple times over with a barrel roll for Carson Kvapil after contact with the driver of the 24 in the Cup Series, but the 88 car of William Byron. Sliding back up the racetrack, hitting the outside wall head-on middle of the back straightaway, and then getting clipped in the right rear as the back of the car came up off the ground after the impact with the wall. The 99 of Parker Retzlaff was the driver who had contacted the back of Kvapil's car and, again, toppling down the back straightaway. Luckily, Kvapil okay, but both out of the race, Retzlaff and Kvapil, and they will finish 36th and 37th on the night. Luke Baldwin during that caution with the DNF as well. Austin Hill taken out of the race during the last crash moments ago, which took place after he was battling with Jesse Love for the 6th place position through turns 3 and 4. Love pinching his teammate down, slight wobble, losing the side force on the race car. Around goes Hill. Midst of spinning off turn 4, gets collected by the 18 of William Sawalich, who could not get to the brakes and missed the spinning 21 car, and both of those cars with severe damage. Something broken in the rear suspension or alignment of that race car. It was definitely skewed as it was working its way under caution speed around the racetrack. Somehow, Sawalich is not only still in the race as hard as he hit the 21 with that T-bone-like crash, but he is still on the lead lap. And they didn't lose any laps under caution with those quick repairs. So trying to keep him in it. Remember, he is in the mix of things as well in the chase. 10th in points for Sawalich. They got to keep him in there so he can try to stay above 12th in points. Only the top 12 make the chase in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And his cushion over 13th coming into the night was a pretty decent one. I mean, he had almost 50 points. Sawalich does have a win, which really carries him a long ways in these standings. Without that win, he'd be 12th last driver in. And again, that win was at Rockingham just 2 weeks ago on Easter weekend. And Retzlaff out of the race already, so he could actually still get points on him despite the fact that he's got the damage and not running poorly because Retzlaff's out of the race. Unfortunately, though, the other spot, Brandon Jones in front of Retzlaff, 8th in points, is not going to be reachable because of winning that opening stage with where Sawalich is running and the kind of damage he's already sustained. Arby stage break.
The others, they stay out. They save themselves. I mean, there's a whole lot of questions to be answered here. What we do know is those drivers that finished at the front and have not yet pitted, they will come here to get more tires.
For those that may stay out for taking those 4 on that last caution before the stage end, you know, this could be the shortest run of the race in this next stage, essentially. So you have that that's why they took that option most likely. So we'll see if they stick with that. You get the extra track position. You probably expect you'll lose some of those positions, but it could be a dead game.
The best of the drivers that pitted and took 4 tires there, Anthony Alfredo is 5th. So if he stays out, because we anticipate Love, who came and got the 2 tires, is going to come back and get the left sides after taking the rights. Anthony Alfredo could be the guy in charge if we get going in stage 2. We'll see what they all do here, though. Progressive pit road is open. Alfredo does stay out. Jones and others making pit stops, Dylan.
And Allgaier has fired off tight both of the last couple of runs and said that as he does continue to get tight, the more rear lateral he loses. So they'll go up around on the track bar, 4 tires and fuel for the 7.
For Brandon Jones, that bright yellow 20 car, he said overall neutral, but did shatter the tires and got tight with that refire. No major adjustments. They'll take tires, put fuel in that machine. You see Corey Day, bottom of your screen, he said it feels fine. Maybe just a little dirty air is causing a slight handling issue. We'll take a chassis adjustment you see right there, as well as air pressure on the 17.
Jesse Love wins the guys up in the bottom booth. You got a copy?
Oh, my bad. My
Because
bad.
he only took 2 tires after taking 2 at lap 40. So he goes +3. That's the good news. The bad news is those drivers that pitted with him at lap 40 and got 4 tires stay out here flipping the stage. He'll be behind them on the restart. 9 cars in all stay out, and they at all. Oh, he just got
In the middle of trying to send something and I can't. Not sure why. There we go. I figured it out now. It's because I was still on Hulu. All right. Stage 1 break. Anthony Alfredo going to be the leader on the restart. I was expecting Jesse Love, even though he took the 2 tires, to still stay out, but he does not. So he went with the 2 tires the first time, took lefts, which means he wins the race off pit road. He's got drivers with a couple lap fresher right side tires. Only 3 laps, though, of green flag action on those rights. The top 8 entirely stay out of the pits there, it looks like. Anthony Alfredo, Jeb Burton first and second, William Byron third, Jeremy Clements now up to fourth, Cole Custer 5th, Brendan Poole 6th, Harrison Burton 7th, Blaine Perkins 8th are the 8 that stayed out. Then Jesse Love 9th, Josh Bilicki 10th, Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier 11th and 12th. End of stage 1. You still got another stage worth of racing to vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race. Justin Allgaier leads our poll at 36%. Tied for the lead with somebody other than Allgaier, Byron, or Day. Haven't really seen Byron in contention much with that slight right front fender damage. And Corey Day leading laps. He was at 0% of votes when the race started. He's up to 9%. I think there's others starting to see what I was seeing, at least at Vegas, in the last mile-and-a-half track race in recent weeks. Now seeing it again here tonight with Corey Day's progression. And he's led. He's led a couple of times. No sense losing the lead. I do think Brandon Jones has the fastest car at least through the first 50 laps. Long ways to go, though. Only a quarter of the way home. A lot of things can change from here. So Alfredo and Jeb Burton should be row 1 on the next restart. He'll ever get back out there? Let me check. No, I don't believe so. He was 10 laps down right at the end of the stage, and now he's 14 laps down. I think under caution, so. I believe Austin Hill may be done for the night. which means we already have 3 drivers in the top 10 in points out of the race in Stage 1 alone. And 4 drivers out of the race entirely, out of the 37 that started. Those couple of cautions after the early going of this race and Blake Lothian falling a lap down, he was able to get the free pass and get back on the lead lap. Sets himself up in the top 30 again. So every other car that's on track is still on the lead lap. Haven't really seen lap traffic under green flag conditions because we haven't had a long green flag run yet. Our longest green flag run of the day is about 14 laps, which is not long at all. Austin Hill outside the infield care center with Dylan Welch. Careful what you say here, Austin.
The time Neil was telling me, and he was like, "All right, he's tight on your door, but you still have air." And then coming off the floor, watching the replay back, I mean, he just turned left and put it right on my door. No, anyone that can save a car when they don't have any air on their right rear. So these aren't cup cars. I'm not sure. He was going to have the run down the front stretch anyways, being on the outside lane like he was, and we could have just raced it out a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of dumbfounded a little bit with how that just all transpired. I mean, I thought we were racing each other really well, and it's a bummer for our Bennett Chevrolet because we've needed to bounce back. We've been so bad these last several weeks, and I thought Kansas was a place that we could go up there and run inside the top 5 and have a shot at the win, and it looked like it could have been that. We were probably 1 or 2 adjustments away of being really good. So just unfortunate, especially when you have a run-in with your teammate. Out of everybody on the racetrack, I would expect a little more room out of the 2 car than the rest of the field. But oh well, we'll go to Talladega. We'll work together as teammates, go try to win that one, and go from there. It's all good. Thanks, Austin.
Well,
Great shot to win next weekend.
Either the easiest guy to race or the hardest, and I agree 100% with what Austin Hill said there. I mean, Jesse needed to give him just a little bit more room. I thought etiquette was a great way of explaining that. If it was coming down to the last lap of a stage, if it was the last lap of the race, you expect that to happen. But 38 laps in, you expect a little bit of room, and Jesse would expect the same thing in return. And what Austin said there, where he's like, Jesse would have had the run anyway, being on the outside, that's what made it such a perplexing move that he would get onto his door like that, and obviously it resulted in Austin spinning out.
Getting ready for the restart in stage 2. First 8 cars pitted at lap 40 and got 4 tires. They stayed out.
All right, we'll see who's going to be the first to try to get through those 8 cars on older tires. Green flag back in the air. Only have 3 laps on their tires, but a lot of those drivers up there have not been running in the top 10 today. Maybe a chance for William Byron to get to the lead for the first time with that slight right front fender damage. I'm sure there has been repairs made to that 88 with a couple of times it has been to pit road, though. Side-by-side battle for the lead down the back straightaway as we get going in stage 2 between Jeb Burton and Anthony Alfredo. Alfredo the car on the outside, and now a third car up on the high side. William Byron trying to get to the right side of the 96, not quite going to get there. And a big block by the 96 car on Byron, who cuts from the outside to the middle, has to get out of the gas to keep from running into the back of Alfredo, and still in the midst of that stays door-to-door with the 27. Byron does get to the outside of both cars underneath him that time. Alfredo gets slightly loose, nearly clips the left rear corner panel of Byron's race car. Byron drives off. He is clear for the lead, and Jones will slide his way up into second place. Huge hole shot through the middle of turns 3 and 4, and now looking at that 88 car for the lead again. Jones, the stage 1 winner, trying to take back what he lost on pit road.
Tires. He didn't quite get there. Just down the inside.
Whoa! Big move by Cruz. got a lot of grip. A lot of grip in that 20.
Here, this was Harrison Burton really sideways. 17 and Corey Davis in his left rear a little bit. This was all these cars we saw that were free breaths for a while. Multiple corners.
Jesse Love, those 2 tires that he came down and got, that call may end up being really positive for them as he works his way to third around Alfredo.
And Adam, I think you're a great play-by-play, but your crew chiefing skills, the fact that you called that, said they were going to come back and get the bonus, and that's what happened. That might be the highlight of my race so far.
I was channeling my inner Danny Downforce. With Sound Gear, wherever sound is a problem, Sound Gear has the solution. Scan the QR code to learn more at soundgear.com. Turn it up.
We'll crank it up on KRC.
Sideways there. That game was sideways, talking about the 19 of Brent Cruz.
So everything we described about what happened to Austin Hill and Jesse Love, you just watched him learn that in real time when they take the air off your right rear. What happens? He got loose off the floor, gathered it up perfectly. It's all part of the learning at mile and a half. This highly aero-intensive racing that you're just constantly trying to evaluate your aero position in relation to other cars. You see here, not quite losing off the right rear, but as he has to pitch off the corner, there's Corey Davis coming down. It just makes the right rear kick out. But he kind of had a devil wave. He had one on his outside and also one right up behind him. It's a terrible position to be put in, and you just got to have your guard up in that position.
Brandon Jones has led 31 laps tonight. His advantage right now, almost a full second over second place William Byron. Here's 20 radio.
You're talking about the wind thing that anytime I see it on board, I watch the steering wheel, see him take a little peek in the rearview mirror, and if you watch him turn into the corner, there's no counter steer to the right. You're hearing a lot of the throttle. He's rolling back into the throttle right now. He's just feeding that car. It's like the car's turning really well. It's not too loose. It's not tight because he's not having to roll out of the throttle on exit. He looks very relaxed inside of the car. So we get a little bit of a look here at the flag. Typically a flag blows in that direction, makes you loose into turn 3. Kim, do you have more than 20? No!
And now the wheeling caution.
Got problems before that.
Kim in a moment. It's yellow number 5 tonight. Anthony Alfredo. Into the wall.
It looks like he has a right front down there. This happened down the front stretch. Not sure what maybe precipitated before I saw him getting the outside wall on the front stretch.
Alfredo was 10th. It made that strategy call to lead us back to the green to begin stage 2. Tough night for Viking.
Man, both Viking Motorsport cars having some problems in the first half of tonight's race. Stage 1 for Retzlaff taken out on lap 2 in that big incident, and now a right front tire failure, it appears, right in the middle of the tri-oval. And a pretty big hit against the outside wall for the 96 of Anthony Alfredo, who finished 5th at the end of stage 1, got 6 stage points, was having a great night so far, and just like with Retzlaff, qualifying top 10, being top 10 in points. These two teams have had speed this season. Unfortunately, Kansas Speedway, other gremlins taking them out instead. So Brandon Jones still the leader. William Byron holding on to second place during this run. Jesse Love sits third. Taylor Gray fourth. Justin Allgaier in fifth. And Sheldon Creed is in sixth place. Seventh is Sammy Smith. Brent Cruz in eighth. Corey Day ninth. Ryan Sieg is 10th. And 11th is Sam Mayer. Cole Custer 12th. Dean Thompson 13th. Jeb Burton 14th. Jeremy Clements in 15th, 16th for Raja Caruth, Brennan Poole in 17th, Patrick Star-Pulley 18th, 19th is Harrison Burton, Ryan Ellis in 20th, LeVar Scott 21st, Kyle Sieg 22nd, Joey Gase in 23rd, 24th place is Josh Williams. Joey Gase, now 24. 25th is Josh Williams. Then Blaine Perkins, 26th. Dawson Cram, 27th. Nathan Bird, 28th. Josh Balicki, 29th. Anthony Alfredo, last car in the lead lap at 30th. Blake Lothian in 31st. 32nd for Austin Green, who just pulled off the racetrack, so I'm not sure what happened there, but Green in his pit box, getting out of his car, and his day's done. Mason Maggio in 33rd. Austin Hill, 34th. Luke Baldwin, 35th. And Parker Retzlaff, 36th and 37th, Carson Kvapil. If Alfredo retires from this race, we're going to have 8 cars out of the race already in just 65 laps out of 200. N96 is still sparking. They just put 4 fresh tires back on the car, so there's going to be some more damage that is going to need fixed to get this 96 car back out and at full strength. And it looks like actually the right front tire itself is about to come off of the race car. It practically is off of the race car. And it's just eating away at the tire. Fender rub. Maybe didn't get the fender pulled out all the way. 96 car burning through tires, that's for sure. They only have so many sets, too. There's 2 of them right there. Or repair work needed. All right, well, under caution again. We'll take another break. You're listening live. KRC full flag to flag coverage of tonight's O'Reilly race. All right. Wild race so far here tonight at Kansas, and we have not really been able to get a long green flag run going yet. And our longest, I should say, green flag run of the day, still 14 laps. That was between the first and second caution back at stage 1. Well, we went green on lap 6 and then had the lap 20 competition yellow. Got the restart, went a little less than that. Caution, 3 laps at the end of the stage yellow. And then at the beginning of this stage, we were able to go about 12 laps and then had another yellow. And now stage 2 is going to be over kind of shortly. I mean, we're already halfway through stage 2. Third of the way through the race entirely. Slow pace here tonight with these 5 early accidents. We had quite a few cautions at Bristol in the O'Reilly race last time out as well, so kind of picking up where we left off, I guess. Had 5 cautions in stage 3 alone of the Bristol race. And now 5 yellows in the first 67 of 200 laps today, including 1 red flag that lasted 12 minutes and 9 seconds for the Carson Kvapil flip. That's not even allotted onto the just over 1 hour that we've had of green flag racing today. Not just green flag, just pacing at the very least. Caution and or green. Yeah, 67 laps complete, 22 of them under yellow. About a third of the race. Logano 22 had power steering rack issue. Well, that explains how far off they were in practice then. I wonder if that's something they'll have to change that's going to drop him to the rear for the beginning of tomorrow's race, because he qualified a bit better. Aggressive nature in tonight's event for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Kansas Speedway, and you can see that by not only the caution count, but any restarts we've had today. If you're watching, You would know.
My Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. It's some kind of race this Saturday evening in Kansas City, Kansas for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. The one thing that really has not caught us off guard, Brandon Jones out front. I mean, we referenced his success here tonight trying to match Kyle Busch for most wins all time at this track in this series. That would be 4, and we got a few takers coming down. A couple of guys that had good track position. Sam Mayer was 11th making a pit stop. Here's Kim.
Yeah, Sam Mayer saying we're just a little free overall. The higher we run, the freer we are. They were optimistic, though, about this race. This is our Vegas car. They had a great race in Vegas. In fact, they said this car has been great to us. So Sam Mayer taking service right now.
Takes on right side tires. And we're still cleaning up the racetrack, so we're going to step aside. 6 cars came down and made pit stops there. Going to be inside of 20 laps to go in stage 2 if we return to the green flag here.
All right, well, caution flag continues. Brandon Jones leads William Byron in second. Jesse Love is third. Fourth place, Taylor Gray. Justin Allgaier rounds out the top 5. Sheldon Creed in 6th for the upcoming restart. 7th is Sammy Smith. Then Brent Cruz 8th, Corey Day 9th, Sam Mayer 10th, Ryan Sieg, Cole Custer 11th and 12th. Again, 5th caution of the day. We're going to have about 20 laps to go in stage 2 when we get back to green flag racing. Thanks to everybody watching tonight's live commentary stream. Our like goal is to get to 50 likes during today's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series live commentary stream. So appreciate everybody that has hit the like button thus far. We are at 40 likes. And we have just over 50 people watch right now. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, be sure to do so. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way. We're on the road to 8,000 subs on the channel. Just got to 7K about a month ago. See how quickly we can get that up to 8,000. As we continue to grow the channel on YouTube. Live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series action, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. So this is our second stream of the day. We did do the Cup practice and qualifying stream earlier. Tyler Reddick on the pole for tomorrow's Advent Health 400 at Kansas. Leader of the Kansas Lottery 300 tonight, though, Brandon Jones. Holding off Cup regular William Byron thus far. Jones has led the most laps. He won stage 1 and trying to get the stage sweep perhaps here today. Looking like the best car out there thus far. Other strong competitors who we've seen either contesting for the lead or have led laps. Corey Day, Justin Allgaier. A little bit back in the field yet. Alternating pit strategies and slow pit stops kind of holding those two teams back just a bit compared to the JGR Toyota that leads the way. Let you listen into more of the CW broadcast when they come back from break here. Adam Alexander, Parker Kligerman, and Jamie McMurray again on the call.
Reed inside the nice job.
Brandon Jones. William Byron took the outside. That gave Jesse Love the front row here on the restart.
You know, they played that strategy. Two tires at lap 40, right side tires at lap 40, came back at lap 49, got left side tires. It's netted them some track position.
19 laps left on the restart for stage 2.
Anxious to see what Brandon Jones in the front row.
And I've been impressed with Byron on those 9-lap older tires. He's been able to hang on really well. But what I want you to watch in this restart is if Brandon Jones can remain side by side with Jesse Love, when they get to the middle of turns 1 and 2, watch at the speed of Brandon Jones to the middle of the corner. That's where he's been so strong and been able to get the lead.
Restart with 19 laps to go in our second stage. Already 41 laps out front for Brandon Jones tonight.
Saw Jesse Love kind of starting to move Jones up. Jones trying to move him down. Watch right here through the middle of 1 and 2, though. That 20 car comes so fast right through the middle of it, gas it up. Driver's going to have a run here. Does he do anything with it? He's going to get to the inside now of Love, heading down into turn 3 and trying to clear him.
Restarts at Kansas, the land of opportunity.
Byron sent it off in there and then slid up in front of Jesse Love. He's able to maintain that second place position. And for Jesse Love, that was the best you could hope for. You were hoping to clear Byron, most likely stay in front of him, but wasn't able to do that. Slotting back into third. It's just no gain essentially from the restart, so perfect situation for him considering his time.
Corey Day, strong, makes his way back up after losing track position in that cycle of stops, riding with Creed. A little shot to the tail side from Justin Allgaier. These drivers racing from 5th on back.
You heard the RPMs rise there just for a second. Tires running.
And look, Sammy Smith has worked his way to 4th very quietly. Started 14th, finished 4th at this race last fall. The 8 is a player right now, but under attack. Sheldon Creed continues his drive to the front.
Corey Day committed to running that really high line through 1 and 2 and then turning down, trying to exit this a little bit straighter. You see Creed doing the exact opposite. He's committed to the bottom, trying to get to the inside of Sammy Smith, who you just referenced. We haven't quite seen anyone actually run on the walls. We've seen here in the past, I think the cooler temperatures maybe take away the advantage that would have if we get no longer run in stage 3. I expect it here as Sheldon shifts it into 1.
He is all over the place.
But I was going to say that if the outside running the wall does come in sort of on the longer run, take a look at Sheldon Creed. He'll most likely be the first one to try and do that because he's so good at run the wall. Corey Day trying to get to the inside of Sammy Smith right there, but just doesn't have the grip. You see he's going to move up and block Allgaier now. He's lost his momentum. Going to go back to the top, trying to get some speed built up down the backstretch. Brandon Jones, meanwhile, is just checked out on these guys, running 2 to 3/10 a lap quicker.
Rick Cruz making it 3 wide, driving up the middle. Got to give a pop to Dean Thompson.
3 wide, it's full race. Every time we say Rick Cruz, it's followed by 3 wide.
But you know what? Dean Thompson having a good night in the 26. We talked about San Juan Racing and their struggles this year, but Dean has been really good at this track. Top 10 here last fall. Another 3 wide episode here. Gray, Day, and Allgaier riding the outside lane.
Yeah, Justin was able to get to the outside. Oh, wow. Corey Day on the exit of 4. Carry that momentum down the backstretch. Those two almost collide. They're on the exit of 2. Corey Day might have clipped the wall right here on the exit of turn 4 the lap before.
Second time he's clipped the wall.
Attack, and then here just tries to slot behind the 7. Big. It looks right here. Oh, that was impressive. Super loose on the exit. You know, similar situation in how you come off that corner to what we saw from Flopple and Byron earlier in the race in terms of that the radius condenses off of turn 2. And so it funnels cars right at the bottom and outside together. As you saw there, it's more just trying to slot in behind the 7. Yeah, you mentioned the top not coming in, but as I watch Brandon Jones, he's one of the only cars that can run that little bit higher line, does turn down a little bit on exit, but he's able to do that on both ends and carry good speed there. It's like these other guys, just the balance of their car isn't where they need to be to run that line. And the guy we're on board with right now doesn't need it. He's absolutely flying around the bottom. Sheldon Creed. second fastest car on the racetrack that last lap with a pass. Well, I think he probably wants to be higher, but that's, he's having to try to pass Byron right now. The sun playing a huge role in this too. I don't know if you've noticed that. In the middle of 3 and 4, these guys have clear visors on because we're going to end at night. So you got this weird transition period of day to night. Look at our Mobile One leaderboard. Going to be 10 laps to go, stage 2. Brandon Jones in charge. Closing on 50 laps led in this one, won the opening stage. William Byron, that contact early, was second, but he's going to lose that spot to Sheldon Creed, who comes through the double zero. Double zero on those better tires, and that might be starting to show something late in the run as well. Love hanging in fourth. Sammy Smith in the top 5, and Greg Cruz gets a bit of it there. That too more than a kiss. That was a pretty good hit right there. That could have done some damage to the rear suspension of that car. You see, Creed's committed to the bottom. Yeah. He actually got by Byron. I thought he would go and run the top immediately, but he likes the way that car feels. And as you listen to the throttle of this double zero car versus Brandon Jones, the top versus the bottom. Well, Ray is on cue. He goes to the top. There you go. He's moving around trying to find the grip he wants. But when he's on the bottom, you hear him handle the throttle a lot more than what we saw from Brandon Jones. Let's see what he does down here in 3 and 4. He gets to the bottom. Hear him kind of roll into the throttle. He's got some clean air right now. He's going to use more throttle than he did a few laps ago. And he was 2/10 a lap faster than Brandon Jones at that last lap, and was the fastest car on that lap right there. For another race here before long, see some of these guys, tracks changing, who's making the right adjustments to their cars. I mean, I just go to last year, and so many times we saw this at Las Vegas earlier this season on a mile and a half. You get a little bit amped up on who the best cars are, stage 1 and stage 2, but they're such short stints compared to what you see in the final stage of a 300-mile and a half race. Last year, Jones came on in the final stage to win it, and he's been dominant stage 1 and stage 2 tonight, an advantage of 2.5 seconds with 7 laps to go in our second run of the evening. Jesse Love able to get by to third. Big wiggle. Now throwing some blocks there off of 2. Going by William Byron. The good thing for both those drivers, they're going to be level on tires in another 6 laps with everybody else. There was some strategy there at the end of stage 1, impacted what everybody had in stage 2, but everybody going to be back playing the same game when we wrap up this second stage. And Jesse Love is going to love that, because he's absolutely sliding all over the place. He's trying to hold off William Byron, who goes to the outside here. Can he get to his right rear? Not quite. But that, you see the hands inside the race car there for Jesse Love. It's been
they're moving. Those hands are moving.
This map just sticking that right rear. Well, you referenced earlier Creed being the fastest car on the track. Now, the fastest car on the track has been that 7, and Justin Allgaier behind. He's caught these guys, but they're running the line that he needs. Allgaier's car, though, if we get a long run, the 7 is really fast here. 4 champs in the field tonight, 3 of them right here. Love won it all last year, 2017. William Byron got it done driving for Junior Motorsports. Of course, Justin Allgaier won the title in 2024. They are 3rd, 4th, and 5th on track as we get an update on race leader Brandon Jones out front with 4 to go on the stage, Kim.
That's right, Adam. Let's get a Toyota driver update. Brandon Jones winning stage 1, trying to sweep the stages and win stage 2. And Chief Sammy Foley said there's a concern. This should be better early in the race, and that showed up. They've around double the stage points this year than they earned this time last year. Again, looking for the stage 2 win, but maybe it's going to drop some debris on the grill. Let's get the in-car communication from Brandon.
Indication that it's not going up in terms of the water temperature on the engine. He mentions 260 because all the teams have, especially the different manufacturers, have levels that they start to get more and more concerned. Is what Byron's having a bit of an issue there. 260 isn't quite there. Once you get above 270 for sure, an extended period of time, that can do serious damage to the engine.
Now, the good news is, I mean, you got just a couple of laps to go in the stage. So,
Yes.
I mean, if you can withstand that, get back, wipe the debris off when you make your pit stop.
Byron, you saw him get super loose, gets up into the wall right there. Sammy Smith gets his inside. I don't know if he has a tire going down. It looked to me like he was having soft tires he drove in, but he's still able to maintain decent speed right here. Another Hendrick car, Corey Day, I saw him around the bottom a second ago. Another one of those cars that looks really good on the long run if we get into this final stage. See what the 17 can do.
Harrison Burton, one of those drivers that made a pit stop and the caution came out at lap 68. He's worked his way up to 8th in the running order. Sam Mayer is 10th. He came down and got 2 tires in that cycle of stops. Both drivers came down. Corey Day working the wall again. Final lap, stage 2.
He's fun to watch.
Oh, my God.
Wheelman. It's awesome. But I think anytime you put a camera on that car, something is occurring. Yeah, he does so well in these tracks where you have to move around. I feel like that fits kind of what he's grown up doing with the sprint cars and searching for grip. Never being content with what you have. See, Brandon Jones is going to get that off of his grill right here before he comes down.
Yeah, he'll do that, and then he'll take the green and white checkered flag. Stage sweep for Brandon Jones. Only second time in his career he's done that. Did it in 2020 at Fontana. Good race here for 5th in the stage. Day finishing in front of Sammy Smith. Creed got to 2nd after starting in the rear. He gets stage points in both stages. Allgaier top 5 in another stage. Love on those 2 tires. Finished 4th. Great city and our nation's heartland, Kansas City. We're racing on the Kansas side tonight, and it's been the Brandon Jones Show.
Brandon Jones sweeping the stages here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Didn't have that on my bingo card, but he has won here multiple times before, so kind of not surprising at the same time. But the speed he's shown today, nobody's been able to keep up with him through the first 2 stages. He looked like he was the fastest car on track when he was running 3rd midway through stage number 1, got to the lead on a pit stop, and that 20 team hasn't looked back since. There was some alternating pit strategy late in stage number 1, and he was still able to do what he could to lead a bunch of laps, and obviously right now back out in front again and leading some more. 60 laps led for him. That's 4 times the amount of laps led he has had coming into this race this season. 15 total on the year coming in. Again, 60 laps led just in the first 90 so far today. Sheldon Creed, 2nd place at the end of stage number 2. Justin Allgaier 3rd. Jesse Love 4th. And Corey Day in 5th. Just got by Sammy Smith in that final corner, the final lap of the stage. So Smith ends up in 6th. 7th was Taylor Gray. Harrison Burton in 8th. Then Sam Mayer 9th. And Dean Thompson rounding out the top 10. An hour and 20 minutes into the race, this now our 6th caution, and that was actually our longest green flag run of the day. Can you believe it? 19 laps. Longest green flag run of the day to take us to the end of stage number 2. We'll see if that'll get topped at stage 3. They will have to pit for fuel and tire purposes yet before the end of the race, even with pitting now during the stage end, and we should see the whole field come in for 4 fresh Goodyears. 7 lead changes thus far, most of those on pit road. Brandon Jones, again, dominating, leading all but 30 laps of the first 90 to complete tonight's race. Well, somebody other than Justin Allgaier, William Byron, or Corey Day to get the win at 36% of the votes out of 55. We have reached the end of stage 2, so that's going to be it there. And that will be the highest vote getter in our poll this evening. 31% of you say that Justin Allgaier will get the win. 26% have William Byron, and 7% taking the 17 of Corey Day of those 55 votes. 41 likes on the stream so far. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We're about 10 likes away from our goal for this evening's stream. And again, we will be back at 1:30 p.m. Eastern earlier tomorrow afternoon for the NASCAR Kansas Cup race. Dean Tate, welcome to the stream. Other is popular. Yes, it is. I mean, it would be the correct answer right now. Mathematically, it would be like the best chances of getting it right every week. I do try to take like the 3 favorites, I guess, so every week, or at least my 3 favorites to win. And those are usually some pretty tough competitors every week when we put those 3 in the poll. Very, very random occasions it would end up where those 3 are nowhere near the checkered flag at the end of this race. Or at least the first to get to the checkered flag. Richard Payne, thanks for tuning in. Don't count out Brandon Jones. I mean, he's obviously, as the race has gone on, I think the favorite by way of not only laps led, but the eye test from way back at stage 1 would show that he was the fastest in this race. I still think he has the fastest lap with that 31.045 back on lap 28. Track going to continue to cool, so we'll see if that'll hold, but nobody ran their fastest laps of the day in stage 2 of the top portion of the field, at least. Dean Thompson back in 10th. Highest running of which that ran their fastest lap at stage 2. Good night for Dean Thompson thus far.
It's happened.
Pit road's open.
Here, Jones.
Yes, just okay tonight. He asked for some more right rear security and better fire off. They're going to make an air pressure change on all to help his front turn and rear stick. Kim?
Dylan, for the stage sweeper, Brandon Jones, he said when the wind died down, the car started to come to me, but he said same trends as before, starts to go tight. And then you see Sheldon Creed in the double zero at the very bottom. He said, I could be a little better if I had more right rear stick center off. I'm just too free to commit to the throttle. So they'll try and give a little security with an air pressure adjustment, 4 fresh Goodyear tires to no fuel.
Pit road advantage, name of the game last year when Brandon Jones won here. In control coming in, and once again the pit crew does their job. Race off progressive pit road. Creed is second, Love +1, Allgaier lost 1, +2 for Taylor Gray.
Brandon Jones wins the race off pit road again. Not only the car is fast, but that pit crew pretty quick as well. And that pit crew, week in and week out, seems to be one of the best in the O'Reilly Series garage. And they're proving it tonight when his driver probably needs it the most, considering the fact that he is that bad fast here this evening and needs a pit crew to kind of help him along the way with every pit stop to keep him out in front, keep that track position, and make the race as easy as possible going forward by way of both strategy and everything else that is yet to unfold yet in stage 3. Dean Tate, yep, thanks for tuning in. I thought I shouted you out already, but sorry if I didn't. On to stage number 3. Take a quick break while we're awaiting the stage 3 restart, and we are approaching the back half of tonight's race. Thanks for watching. You're listening live to the Kansas Lottery 300. KRC Productions presents to you the Kansas Lottery 300 at Kansas. That's me trying an announcer voice. Apparently I have one already, so I don't really need to really go into it, but I don't want it to sound too cheesy. Got to be a bit of authenticness to this yet. Connerberg taking Sheldon Creed for the win. He looks good. It's not a bad pick. I mean, he's that guy if Brandon Jones has any kind of a mistake. Pit road blunder. You know, even if it's not the crew, let's say we have green flag pit stops and he speeds on pit road. Very well could happen. And these teams are going to have to pit one more time yet in this race. If we did go green somehow through stage 3, which I would be utterly shocked the pace of this race so far if we end up going green all the way through stage 3. I don't even think we're going to end up going green long enough to see green flag pit stops, which would be 50 to 60 laps into the run before that fuel window would open to make it to the end of the race. I would be astonished. Again, the longest green flag run of the day, 19 laps, and that was the last one that we had leading to lap 90, which was the end of stage 2. I don't have any diecast with me here this weekend from a remote location for today's stream, as well as tomorrow's as well. So no diecast showing at the end of stage 2. When I do get those back, we'll have the diecast showing at both the end of stage 1 and stage 2, just like we did for the last couple of races in the last 2 Cup Series events. Show us the John Cena diecast. Yeah, WrestleMania going on right now, night 1. If there are any wrestling fans in the chat that are keeping an eye and or watching WrestleMania, do not spoil anything for me in the chat. I would greatly appreciate that. I have not watched anything yet today. I haven't been able to with the stream, obviously, both streams, so let's keep that on the DL. I'll end up watching it sometime tomorrow morning, and then stream, and then obviously watch tomorrow's live at least from start to finish, so that's good.
And boat insurance.
And the exit portion, the touring team is nailing every part of it.
Restart on the way. Let's go to the CW Garage, Carla.
Yeah, Adam, and Kansas is just one of those tracks where Brandon Jones knows other drivers are watching him, really studying how he runs. He said it's fun, but also comes with a need for self-awareness because he does understand this place so well. He said, I may know the different lanes and how they change throughout the run, but I also can't get lazy with that information. He said, when other drivers ask, he said, as hard as it is, I'm actually honest about the keys to this place because I still understand that it's up to them to execute. He said, that's a team effort to try and execute at Kansas, which the 20 team, as we can tell throughout the race, has done a pretty good job.
Well, they've been incredible, and they sweep the stages, so he's maxed out tonight when it comes to stage points. Allgaier does it again, hitting 16, top 5 in both stages. Good effort for Corey Day. Love and Creed doing some positive things in that regard as well. As we anticipate the restart, we remind you closed captioning for today's race. Brought to you by Tableau TV. Pay once, watch forever. Hey, some penalties. Josh Williams, 92, team over the wall too soon. Same for Jeb Burton in the 27, equipment violation. Nathan Burton, a 42, uncontrolled tire for Josh Bilicki. Those drivers coming from the back.
And the sun is finally gone. We're under the lights. This may be entirely different than what we see in these first 2 stages.
Brandon Jones closing on 70 laps led, has swept the stages. Can he finish the deal? Final stage, off and rolling. Here comes the 20 in control again.
Oh, they're going to make it 4 wide now, going down into turn 1.
Risky business.
Ted Gray, paint the white line. Middle is Sheldon Creed. And once again, center corner off. Brandon Jones flexing his muscles. 20 trying to get control in the outside lane.
Hasn't got it yet, though.
Creed's going to have on the bottom. He's going to challenge him here.
Creed to the lead. There you go, Connor Burke.
Sheldon Creed leading at Kansas.
What a series of moves by Sheldon there. He backed up in the restart box, got a great run, then still got taken advantage of into turn 1 by Taylor Gray getting below him on the apron. Fought back to the middle to take the lead. Excellent job, Sheldon Creed.
Allgaier around his teammate. 7 going around the 8 of Sammy Smith. Corey Day getting impatient. Sam Mayer there in the 41. And Brent Cruz in his first appearance at Kansas continues to hang inside the top 10.
17 car looks like it struggles just a little bit on this restart. So I saw him give a shot to Sammy Smith down the backstretch, but then trying to run that top, just not able to carry the momentum that the shorter distance around the bottom these guys have. See, he's now moved down, kind of run.
Oh, Sammy!
Sammy Smith.
Right into Corey Day.
Everybody trying to keep minimal damage. Caution number 7 as the Wheeling caution lights illuminate one more time.
I don't know about one more time. We might have more than that.
To the 8, I know the 17. Definite right front damage. Yeah, right front fender damage. They're going to have to address that. Gosh, when you come to a track this fast, so much throttle time, all that aero is massive. 8 consecutive top 10s for Corey Day, and coming to a place where you felt like he would be really good, just thinking
He
about
has been
his
good.
history and what he's done on the mile and a half. But those noses, it's deceiving. Those can pop out. You know, it's pushed in now. We'll see what they can do. I mentioned Corey struggling around the top to carry that momentum, and then he'd run the middle. Looked like he had a really good run through the middle of 1 to 2 and got to the inside of the 8.
Well, he's been so fast, and I think he was getting slightly impatient there behind the 8. They had a very close clear off of 2 for Sammy Smith in front there down the back stretch, and then they got close again down the front stretch, and then it looked like Corey here, as we take a look back, just gets to that left rear, which is a super vulnerable place for the car that you get close to. And Sammy just loses all the air on that rear spoiler when he gets the air packed on the left rear. Gets sideways. Looked like they were going to drive both each other into the wall, but got detached.
Yeah, you see Corey Day get to his inside.
It's just right here.
Damage. I mean, just barely makes contact. But the 8's in a vulnerable position right there, the exit of the corner.
And it starts with the air packing there in that left rear and removing the air from the rear spoiler where the 8 starts to get sideways, and then they hit there. You see that? That finishes them off.
Look who comes through. 28 of Kyle Sieg. Inside the top 10. There's an awesome story to tell in the final stage. And
All right, well, Sheldon Creed to the lead on the restart, and then about a lap and a half to 2 laps later, caution coming out for Sammy Smith and Corey Day getting together off of turn 2, a slide down to the inside of the track. Ryan Sieg spun trying to miss the incident, also losing some track position after running around 10th for most of the night prior. He's going to have to come back down and get 4 fresh tires, which is going to be kind of a tough break for him because that's going to put him behind a set on tires to the end of the race, which he should have 1 set left, but if we get any late cautions, then he's not going to be able to put any on for later in the going. And right now it's been a caution-filled event so far. Longest green flag run still just 19 laps, and we are just past halfway. 8 lead changes now in this race, with Sheldon Creed taking his first lead of the night. And he has now led the last few under the caution. We'll see if he can get a good restart. He will be the control car this time, so you would think that that would only further benefit him. And can Brandon Jones, who's mastered the restarts all night until this last one, find a way to get back to the lead? He might not even need the restart necessarily to do it. I think he's just got to make sure he doesn't lose too much track position on the restart, keeps himself in contention, because that car is great on the long run. He'll get back to the lead. He's just got to stay up in that top 2, top 3, make his life a little bit easier. He should have the pace to get back by Creed. First time Creed's had clean air, though, so if he can hold on to it again on another restart, maybe we'll see some things out of the 00 that we haven't seen yet. He's been fast for reason, second place here tonight. Nobody's been able to touch Jones, but he has obviously been the closest, and now he's in the right position. And having that win at Atlanta maybe already settles the nerves a bit, and he even said in that post-race interview, maybe it opens him up for even more wins. Finally getting that monkey off his back after so long, of finishing second so many times, most in the series before their first career win. And that goes across each of the top 3 series, not just in O'Reilly action. Looking for 2 wins already on the season in the first 9 races. 10th being here tonight. That'd be already 2 more than his entire career combined up to this point. Creed is a former Truck Series champion, so it's not like he doesn't know how to drive race cars. He's been consistent for so long, and finally that consistency is putting himself up there. It just goes to show, I mean, even if it's an abundant amount of times, you keep putting yourself in position over and over and over again, you're going to fall into wins eventually. And so what's happened to Creed and might happen again here tonight.
You know, tonight marks only the second time the O'Reilly Series has raced under the lights at Kansas. But with that sun going down and this sunset looking like that, we need to do it more often. I mean, I think it's just beautiful. We're getting the juice here. Do that with 96 laps to go. Going to be 95 to go, so we're past halfway when we get the restart. Front row, Jones and Creed.
And really one of the first times that we're going to see Brandon Jones on the inside lane in this race. He's had the option to be in the outside, taken almost every restart.
Justin Allgaier coming from row 3 here, Dylan.
Yeah, that's right. Officially going to roll off Finn, but here is some start key radio communication between he and crew chief Andrew Overstreet just a moment ago. Right here. Right. Too early this year about just being the encourager for Justin, and that's something that he's very cognizant of every weekend. Andrew said in the past he's tried to be the guy that's kind of hard on people to motivate him, and just hasn't really worked for him. So you hear the encouragement there. That's worked for them so far this year, and keeping it up again today.
Yeah, he's won a third of the races this year, and
done well.
And when you've had a night that you're frustrated with, and you've scored 16 stage points, and you got a very good chance to win this one, I would say that's a good off night.
And Justin's considered one of the best restarters in this series.
Creed coming from the outside lane, 95 to go as we run it through the Poet restart zone.
It's like that top lane was almost locked together. As you see Taylor Gray giving Creed a big shove down into turn 1. I didn't know if he was ever going to release him. Look at Allgaier on the top.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have on the exit right here. Can he do anything with it?
He chose that outside lane. Dylan mentioned he was 5th prior to the choose. He goes to the high side. It's paying dividends so far.
Yeah, he has to go way up just trying to get clean air on the nose. Oh, you see Jones get loose underneath his teammate after chasing up the racetrack just a little bit. Creed's loving this.
Track in Las Vegas. Taylor Gray, so good on a mile and a half there. Remember, he and Creed got together. He hit the wall and had to stay in prematurely, but he was really good on that intermediate track, trying to make something happen here, flashing to the inside of his teammate Jones for second.
That's the first time we've seen the 20 passed really all night long. You see Allgaier
happening again.
Yeah, Allgaier getting a big run on the top. The 7 car coming to life at the right time tonight. Apparently that encouragement works. Got a great restart, went to the top side. Tons of momentum. Now looking again to the outside of Taylor Gray. Can he get the momentum?
Man, that 20 car rolls up on him so well.
Waiting right behind him, Jesse.
This is the end, and he was sitting there at the top, but Taylor Gray kind of counters, moves up, and Allgaier just trying to get some clean air on the nose. You see he'll either peek to the right or the left, just trying to get half a car out to get the grip that he needs.
Here's the other thing to think about as we get into this final stage, inside of 100 laps to go, and that is the dash for cash. Quantum eliminated early when he flipped on lap 2, but the other 3 drivers right in it. You don't have to win the race to get the money. You just have to finish in front of the other drivers. Creed.
But you want to win the race too. I mean, let's be honest. You want the win and the extra money.
You're going to have to win this race. Pretty impressive. Taylor Gray's been able to. I was going to get around him fairly quick, but 54 actually driving away just a little bit right now.
What are they saying about driver 5-4, Dylan?
They've been pretty happy today, and it was interesting talking to crew chief Jason Ratcliffe yesterday. They've had a couple runs last couple weeks to finishes, and Jason, frankly, it's kind of about that. Their teammates have been running good, winning races, contending for wins. And they haven't been. So we got to figure it out, was basically his message. And I think this is exactly what they wanted today. They expected to be good. Remember, they were so good at Las Vegas, the other mile and a half we run on earlier this year. There are some differences that Jason noted, but I think the basic platform is the same, and they felt like it was going to apply. So running second right now is a great day for these guys, and in contention, certainly, and try and finish it off and have either best week of the year.
And Dylan, you mentioned Vegas where he was really fast, but what happened in that race was Sheldon Cream got to his front bumper and sent him into 3, and he is catching Sheldon right now by 2/10. The last lap was a 10th. The lap before, he is reeling in that 0-0 Sheldon Cream. Well, we celebrate the success of Jason Ratcliffe and what he's done with his 54 team. As Brent Cruz in the 19 goes by Sam Mayer for 6th. Perfect timing, because when you look at the crew chief lineup at JGR, and what they've accomplished at this mile and a half, they've all been to victory lane. Jim Henry did it twice with Brandon Jones. Seth Chapka got it done a couple of years ago with Eric Almirola. Sam McCauley last fall with Brandon Jones, who got his 3rd win here. And Radcliffe did it all the way back in 2009 with David Green. How about that? Deep for the Radcliffe staff. Sorry, Jason. We're telling everyone how old you are. He's so good, he led McMurray to victory.
That shows how impressive anybody can win with that.
That's right.
Well, you said it. Look at the 54 creeping up on the 0-0 again, another 10th that lap. But we've seen all night long the line, the creeds running around the top. It's so hard to get that pass done around the bottom. So Taylor's got to get a plan together as he catches him. Exactly how he wants to maneuver this. By far the best car on the track at this moment. And look at this, the 18-year-old Brent Cruz passing last year's champ, Jesse Love. I'm telling you, if there was stock available for this kid, I'd be buying. This is incredible.
Okay, he learned in stage 1 and stage 2, but was able to get stage points, and now here he is. As we head in toward the 4th quarter of the race, he's inside the top 5 and flexing lots of muscle. It's time to go full throttle with sound gear.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Is a problem. Sound gear has the solution.
Another little crank it up session. CW version.
Turn it up. At Kansas, 84 laps to go. Taylor Gray, half a second behind. Allgaier, Jones, Cruz, your top 5. William Byron, been quiet tonight, making his 2nd start of the year, driving the 88 for Junior Motorsports. He's 9, been bounced around a little bit, is that team. They won our last mile and a half, and Kyle Larson behind the wheel in Las Vegas.
That car right behind him, Dean Thompson, having a great night for Sam Hunt Racing in 10th. And then I look at his teammate Harrison Burton in 13th. So great night for Sam Hunt Racing.
I mean, you think about what's happening in front of Byron. You got Kyle Sieg there, and then back behind him, several drivers making a splash. You mentioned Harrison Burton. Corey Day, though, now he's going to be down a set of tires. That could be really tough on this team depending on how the race plays out. But after the damage, he's driving back through, has got himself to 13th in the running order. And that's big for a driver who came in top 5 in points. We look at our Powerball power mover since the restart, plus 15 for Day. Ryan Sieg also had the slide. He's at plus 14. So both those drivers starting to find their way back. And Kyle Sieg, you just have to celebrate it. And ironically, his best run so far in 2026 was the mile and a half in Vegas when he finished 14th. A lot of times you see him pop up in the draft. I'm sure we'll talk about him next Saturday in Talladega. But tonight, getting it done on the intermediate at Kansas.
And often at these types of tracks, we see him up front maybe when they go off strategy and take tires to go try and get some stage points. But legitimately there in the top 10 right now. This is a huge run for Kyle Sieg. Great job by this whole 2018.
The younger of the Sieg brothers bought his first house in the off season. And, we tease sometime about Rodney Childers pit box for the one.
Ryan Sieg's only a couple spots back at 11, too. Good night for both the Sieg brothers.
80 laps. The Kansas, Creed, Gray, Geyer, and Cruz. Glad you're with us from Kansas.
All right, we're going to go through the full field running order. Obviously, they just listed the top 5. I'll re-go through that again, and then the rest of the field to follow. Sheldon Creed is your race leader. He's out ahead by 0.7 of a second over Taylor Gray. Justin Allgaier is 2 seconds back in third, and Brandon Jones, who won the first 2 stages, is in fourth, 2.3 seconds out of the lead. Brent Cruz up to 5th place. Jesse Love in 6th. 7th is Sam Mayer. William Byron 8th. Kyle Sieg 9th. Ryan Sieg in 10th. Good night for the Sieg brothers. Dean Thompson in 11th, Corey Day in 12th, Cole Custer 13th, Harrison Burton 14th, Patrick Star-Pulley 15th, Jeremy Clements 16th, Jeff Burton 17th, 18th is Raja Caruth, 19th is William Sawalich and Brennan Poole in 20th. Josh Williams 21st, LeVar Scott 22nd, Ryan Ellis 23rd, Sammy Smith 24th and 25th, Blaine Perkins, Nathan Burden 26th, Joey Gase in 27th, and Josh Balicki 28th is the last car in the lead lap. 3 laps down, Dawson Cram on track at 29th, and then everybody else further on back from 30th through the rest of the field are out of the race. So we got 8 drivers out. Anthony Alfredo in 30th, Blake Lothian 31st, Austin Green 32nd, Mason Maggio 33rd, 34th Austin Hill, Luke Baldwin 35th, 36th is Parker Retzlaff, and Carson Quapple rounds out the 37-car field. So that's where we're sitting at right now. Lap 34 of 110 in stage number 3. Lap 124 of 200 total in the race. 8 lead changes, 37 laps under yellow, 7 cautions. Approaching the longest green flag run of the race right now. Our longest up to this point, 19 laps. What are we at right now? We're at lap 19. This was 1 lap away from being the longest green flag run of the day. And these guys still have to pit one more time yet before the end of the race, so we'll have to wait and see exactly when that will transpire. With the caution laps that we end up having, we could see teams going a little less than 40 laps left in the race before they would have to hit pit road, but that's just what we're looking at right now. 50 likes on the stream is our like goal. We're at 46 likes right now, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We'll take a quick break. Listening live, KRC, full flag coverage of the Kansas Lottery 300 continues for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So that's an update as to how all that is going down right now. Brandon Jones catching back up to Justin Allgaier. Close to each other. And that battle is going on for 3rd place at the moment. Sheldon Creed running some good lap times out in front of the field right now, though. His fastest lap was actually in Stage 3 when he got to that clean air, lap 100. Though Brandon Jones, despite being the fastest car tonight, still keeping up with the racetrack. He's just back in traffic because his fastest lap of the day also lap 100. Same for Jesse Love back in 6th. Creed going to be coming to the start-finish line this time off of turn number 4. And this is going to now give us, I believe, 73 laps to go at Kansas.
Race lead here in this final stage. He's got an 0.8 of a second advantage over second Taylor Gray. Justin Allgaier is 3rd, and right behind him, Brandon Jones, and has led 67 laps tonight. 2 stages to race. And as we hit 7 minutes to go, we're closing on that point. Remind everybody, you do need to make a pit stop in this final stage. A lot of times we see it under green, and typically you start to see that window open right around 60 laps remaining.
As Brandon Jones gets the inside of Justin Allgaier here, I clear him down before into turn 1. We just ticked into the longest green flag run of the day to explain how crazy this day has been. That's 22 laps, the longest of the day right here. Yeah, and as you look at these top 4 guys all separated by just over 2 seconds, everybody's lap times are really close. This is kind of leveled off. They've made adjustments to their cars. These top 4 cars are all very similar. Brandon Jones maybe being the best of those guys you see making the pass. And so as a driver, crew chief start working on this of when you're going to pit, because there is some lap time fall off, and pitting a lap or 2 early can be the difference of running 4th or leapfrogging into the lead. So there's a risk, though, that comes with that. If you pit, you go a lap down, it can get you behind, but that's what these guys are going to have to think about as we, run the next 25 to 30 laps. And the other thing that's we've just gotten confirmation, this is the coldest O'Reilly race ever at Kansas, just down to 55 degrees. We see that with how much grip is in the racetrack, how when we go on the onboards, how much they're in the throttle around here. Well, if you're in the throttle a ton, you're using a lot of fuel, so some of the teams are going to have to adjust that from what we've historically seen in the past here. So all those question marks are still available.
Look at this for Sheldon.
They've had some extra caution laps to try to help save gas with the stage brake and the early stage yellow, though, so I think they should make it a one-stop easily still.
Stages. Nearly came back to win stage 2. They get the job done on a restart, take over the top spot, and the graph has been incredible, and it's all topped out here in this final stage of the race. The execution of this team has been outstanding here tonight, Kim.
That's right. Remember, they're going for that $100,000 cash bonus. Simply coming into this race. Times at Kansas. In fact, he's never finished in 11th here. We've seen that straight from them all season. Chief Jonathan Tony Turkey, but we've been running in the top 5 or 6 consistently. We just need to capitalize more on that. He was complimentary of Sheldon, his maturity on track, and his racetrack and his decisions. We'll get some in-car communication courtesy of Starkey, though, on what they were telling him based on what Taylor Gray was doing a couple laps ago.
You're right, maybe 3, maybe lower than us. 3.
They're continuing to give him updates on what Taylor's doing, what his lap times are compared to the 54, Dylan.
The second highest running car eligible for the Dash for Cash is this one, the 7-car Justin Allgaier. 4th on the leaderboard, trying to go for 7 straight 10-5s this year. If they're able to hold on to this with 69 laps to go. Last year in the fall, they felt like this was one of those races they got away from. It felt like they were maybe the best car, but just tried to do some things on strategy to take a risk because they were good on points. Ultimately didn't work out, but came back with a similar approach today. And something else that Chief Andrew Overstreet, crew chief Connor Zillich, a couple of years ago, making select starts, they finished 4th here. So another racetrack where these guys have a really good notebook to pull things from. He's been quiet on this run, but he did say at the beginning of this final stage that they helped inspire off with the adjustments they made at the end of stage 2 game.
Dylan Brent, that third driver that's still in the running for the Dash Cash bonus, currently running in that position, got into the Dash Cash for his 3rd place finish at Bristol, and I talked to Chief Steph Chaka just about that finish, almost getting his first win, and he said, look, you really can't ask much out of a driver than finishing 3rd to the best, meaning Connor Zillich and Kyle Larson last week, and he said, obviously we wanted to win, but they were not disappointed. In fact, they were encouraged, and Seth felt like everyone got to see the potential that Brent Cruz has, and it's showing up here this afternoon. Top 5 right now, just battling tight, and that's been his complaint the majority of the night.
I just don't know how you measure it, Kim. What's more impressive? Finishing 3rd last week at Bristol behind Zillich and Larson, or coming here tonight to an intermediate when you've never done this and running top 5. Across the board, he just continues to show it's such an outstanding night for this 18-year-old who, by the way, if he were able to get
Barely
a
18.
race, would be the youngest ever in the history of the
Yeah, he's barely 18.
series.
I think it's safe to say with Brent Cruz, we're going to hear the word history and making a lot throughout his career. So talented at what he's been able to accomplish. Guys, talking about everybody racing for $100,000. This guy, Corey Day, was involved in that accident with Sammy Smith just a few minutes ago. They've come in, they put those tires on, and I watched him. He progressed through the field, but he kept losing time to the leader. He was almost 12 seconds back at one point. He's now 8 seconds back, consistently the fastest car on the track, and it's been 3/10, 6/10. He's made up a lot of ground. If we can run 15 more laps, I think he might be close enough that some strategy can put them back in a position to be able to possibly win this race. And one of the things I noticed there when we were watching until he caught William Byron here, he was most aggressive of being on the wall. Already have beat up the right side of that car enough. Why not take the and take the risk if the wall has some speed in terms of putting that car right on it. There he's trying to turn down and get away from the dirty air of William Byron.
Day was in that incident. He's coming back. And so is the 39 of Ryan Sieg, who's just behind this duo back in the 10th position. They both want this thing, though, to run long and stay green because they had one less set of tires than everybody else. Another guy that wants to stay green, right here screen, Brandon Jones just continues to drive his way toward the front. He got by Allgaier for third, now knocking on the door of his teammate Taylor Gray for second. Yeah, he was 3 seconds back. It's now a second and a half behind race leader Sheldon Creed. We know how good they've been on pit road. If they can make this cycle work, Brandon Jones might be the guy in the final portion of this race. Here he is looking to the inside. Sammy Smith had the problems. He's fallen off the lead lap. They easily go by him. And Jones looking for the runner-up spot as we look towards 60 laps to go.
Gosh, you can see the speed in that 20 car, just able to enter the corner a little harder and also get turned down. It's so much fun to watch these guys enter top and then turn right in the middle of the corner and drive off. It looks odd, but they're just able to use so much more throttle that way. And it's a diamond, and the reason it works is because of the progressive banking. You use the changes in the banking angle to turn the race car. So as you come off the top one and start to go to the middle, it de-wedges and rotates the race car, continues all the way to the exit portion of the car. So it's a line that came about a couple years ago.
Jones's car coming back to life again.
It really works. We're seeing a lot of people use it.
Jesse Love making a push here on the back end of this run. Racing Cruz, 2 really good friends for 5th, 2 able to drive by on the inside. He's in the top 5.
And keep an eye on William Byron. Corey Day had caught him, and as I watched the lap times, Byron and Day had been running the fastest lap times. William is really committed to the top. I saw him coming off of turn 4. Look at that. He's committed now. He's working that all the way around the top and is able to make a ton of lap time. It's the only car we've been able to see do this. You referenced kind of that diamond line, but Byron's committed to this. When they caught him, he's now committed to just running all the way up against the wall. Watch that, following it all the way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the way around the corner. I've been looking for this, and we finally had a long enough run. We're at 36 laps in this run where that can really come into play. And he's been able to hold off Corey Day doing that, but I've been waiting to see who would be the first to get up there and really realizes Corey goes to the final, doesn't clear. He's like, cut me a break, buddy. We got the same sponsor.
He was going to get it easy. Close the deal.
Needs to be able to slide up in front of him right here. Byron's going to have a big run. He'll have to cut him a break. He's not going to. Oh, he does.
Day slides up, completes the pass, and he's down 7.
I think he goes to the wall now. What can he do now that he's got, a little bit of clean air? Does he commit to running that higher line? Oh, you saw the exhaust come out as he was out, kind of chasing it up the track just a little bit.
And at 58 laps to go, we're in the window. So now you can come down, make that pit stop, and you can go the rest of the way on fuel. And maybe
We've got a couple drivers coming in now.
Kotsig is out of fuel, but he's making a pit stop here. And he does so with 58 laps remaining.
Well, that seems early to run out of fuel.
Early, yeah.
Seal
Frank comes down, makes his scheduled green flag stop, Dylan.
Yeah, this is the very first car of the leaders debate what will be their final scheduled stop. Taylor said that they were just trending too tight on that run. That was his biggest complaint. More tires than fuel to the finish.
I mean, look left to your screen. Jones is closing down on Creed, and it's going to be so compelling to see how they handle things as far as when you call them in and the gain you can make on those fresher tires if you pit a lap or 2 earlier.
Oh,
We've
man.
seen issues those Haas factory teams before.
Jesse Love coming in hot to pit road.
Haas factory, keep an eye on that. As Jesse Love is hitting pit road, Dylan. Yeah, we'll be curious to see how many more of the leaders this brings down here. Jesse Love next up. The only thing really they were talking about was trying to improve his minimum speed in the center of the corner. They got the entry a little bit better. The middle was still too slow. You see the wrench in the back window there to make a chassis adjustment. Just to try to help that 2-car get rotated. More tires and wheels for Jesse Love.
Love was racing for a spot in the top 5 when he gave up position to come down. Here's Justin Allgaier. He was in the top 5. He's making his pit stop. 55 to go, Dylan.
In the very first stall here off the exit of turn number 4. We told you about them improving the short run and the fire off. Justin said we moved the needle on that fire off, but at the end of that long run, I was paying the price for it. More and add fuel as well. Looks like air pressure and tank for the 7.
Gray and Allgaier giving up spots inside the top 5 to pit. They come down before the Creed and Jones cars do. And so you start thinking about the fresher tires and the lap time they can make up here as they go back out. There is a lot to manage, and we'll follow it. Execution is huge here, both inside the race car and on the pit box.
2 seconds. The last lap is how much faster Taylor Gray was than Sheldon Creed leading this race. It's been 2 laps now. Pretty good at math here. 4 seconds he's made up in just these 2 laps. Now, if it plays out the whole way, it will come as a miss.
But we're going to find out. William Byron was making his stop, and here come the top 2. Jones had closed all the way down. Sheldon Creed in front of him. Scheduled stops coming with 53 laps to go, Kim.
Yeah, and really the first big complaint from Brandon Jones of the night. He said, laterally, I'm loose on the exit. He said, it's really bad, so I'm looking for an adjustment here. His pit crew has been one of the best, if not the best, all night, looking to get time made up on pit road. As you see Sheldon Creed stopping in his box. He said, starting to build a little tighter corner to center later this run. He also had a message for his spotter. He said, do a better job on getting lappers out of the way. A little frustration from the driver of the 0-0.
Creed was in control. Jones gets away. Looks like he's going to pass. It's close. Look at him coming off. Drag race off the pit lane. Taylor Gray pitted earlier, and he drives right by him. Now, keep in mind, this right now is not the battle for the race lead because other drivers have to make stops. But when you start thinking about the cycle, 54 has been able to leapfrog here by coming a couple of laps earlier.
And it's a massive lead. It's almost the entire backstretch of the car that's
Big
actually
lead.
leading the race now. Corey Day is directly behind Taylor Gray right here as he crosses the start-finish line. It's going to all be, we talked about it, almost 2 seconds a lap he was making up before the pit cycle. Now,
And he pitted about 3 laps early.
To make pit stops, you reference every day. He and Brian Sieg came down much later than these guys, almost 10 laps, because they were involved in that accident. I'm very curious to see how far they run it because they know that they're down a set of tires depending on how this thing goes from here. And now we get the answer to the question for Corey Day. Gives up the race lead, 50 laps to go. Here comes the 17.
And a great rebound for Corey Day, despite the damage. You see some of that bare bond on the right front. The last run, he said he was a little limited in the right rear, helping turn down. But this run, he's actually been quiet again, despite that damage. So looking for no major adjustments on the 17 machine at Corey Day as he stops in his box for service.
Corey Day gets the pit stop, watching Taylor Gray. To third now in the running order will be the race leader, and we just got confirmation when the 20 of Brandon Jones came down, uncontrolled tire.
Wow.
They have been outstanding.
Wow.
Green flag stop.
Sigh of relief for Sheldon Creed.
Showing his from the car here on the right side. I wondered if NASCAR would call this. So as you see, he's in his pit stall. See this tire right there?
Yeah, that's definitely uncontrolled.
That's an uncontrolled tire.
It's heartbreak. Maybe the best car all night long, but his teammate and Jason Ratcliffe have made the call of the race so far, put that car in the right position.
Gray is third. Ryan Sieg, Jeb Bird, you see in the bumper, first and second. They are yet to make their pit stops in the green flag cycle. Last time Sieg was in lap 103. Jeb Burton last made a stop at lap 97, and Gray has now made his way around Jeb Burton and up to second in the running order. But of course, Jeb Burton going to have to make a pit stop anyway.
Well, we talked about the difference, pitting early. It was almost 2 seconds a lap at the initial. Right now, Creed's running about 2/10 a lap. Oh, Ryan Sieg was trying to get on the pit.
Got a spinner. Still green. Still green.
Taylor Gray into the field in front of Jeb Burton, who still needs to pit. Creed, Love, and Allgaier complete the top 5. And as Gray runs around out front, teammate Brandon Jones, the pass-through penalty, paying his debt to NASCAR for the
Paying his debt to NASCAR. The way he explained that.
To the heartland with 46 to go.
Gray leads by 3.3 seconds over Sheldon Creed as green flag pit stops have cycled all the way through. We're down to about 44 laps to go this time by. With that 3.3 second lead, the following lap down to 3 seconds, about 3/10 faster for Sheldon Creed versus Gray. Gray was in the top 5, but remember he did pit about 4 laps early. And Sheldon Creed now starting to get a little bit quicker over the course of the run to try to get back to him. Plus, was quicker before this run started versus Taylor. So having the better race car, the slightly better tires, we'll see how quickly he can run him down. He's got plenty of time to be able to do it if it does stay green to the end. Feel very spaced apart right now. This is our longest green flag run by quite a wide margin. Entering this restart, our longest green flag run was 19 laps, and as of right now, we have just eclipsed 50 laps consecutively under green. Taylor Gray again leads. Sheldon Creed second. Justin Allgaier is third. Fourth is Jesse Love. Fifth is William Byron. Sixth, Brent Cruz. Corey Day seventh. Harrison Burton eighth. Sam Mayer ninth. Dean Thompson rounds out the top 10. Cole Custer in 11th, Jeremy Clements in 12th, Brandon Jones 13th, had the pass-through penalty. He is the last car in the lead lap. 14th is William Sawalch, even with that nose damage he had earlier. That's quite surprising. Ryan Segan 15th, 16th is Patrick Starr, Poley Blaine Perkins 17th, Sammy Smith 18th, LeVar Scott 19th, and 20th is Josh Williams. Rajah Cruthan 21st, Jeb Burton 22nd, Brendan Poole 23rd, Ryan Ellis 24th, and Nathan Bird 25th. 26th is Joey Gase, Kyle Sieg 27th, Josh Bilicki 28th, Dawson Cram 29th, and Anthony Alfredo 30th. Blake Lothian 31st, Austin Green 32nd, Mason Maggio is 33rd. 34th is Austin Hill, Luke Baldwin 35th, Parker Retzlaff 36th, and 37th Carson Quapple rounding out the field. All right, so can Taylor Gray hold on at the Kansas Speedway to get his second career win and first of the O'Reilly Series season in 2026? We'll have to hold tight and see if that will be the case. He's managing better the last couple laps versus Sheldon Creed. Because there for a bit, Sheldon Creed was looking significantly quicker, going from about 4 seconds out of the lead down to 3 pretty quickly after leaving pit road. Creed's pit stop was only about 11 laps ago from where we're at right now, with 51 laps to go, and we are just now hitting 40 laps left. Consistently, I still think Creed's a bit quicker. And I also am not entirely sure that this is going to stay green to the end. I did watch the first half of the race. It's just hard for me to believe that that pace isn't going to kind of linger itself again for the late going. Did have a half spin coming to pit road by Ryan Sieg, but no caution. He was out of the way, stayed green, and he was of the last cars to pit road too, so he wasn't really blocking the pit lane for anybody that NASCAR felt that they had to throw a caution for any reason. We'll take a quick break here. Listening live, KRC. Our full flag to fly coverage continues as we're getting later into the race. Got about 70 concurrent viewers watching here on this Saturday night. Thanks for everybody tuning in. 50 likes already on the stream. We just got to our like goal in recent minutes. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live commentary streams continuing on this weekend at Kansas Speedway with the NASCAR Cup Series Advent Health 400 tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live right here on the channel. Leader of the Dash for Cash, by the way, right now is currently Justin Allgaier in the third place position at 6.3 seconds out of the lead. Brent Cruz is second in the Dash for Cash race at the moment. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Sheldon Creed's in the Dash for Cash actually as well. So Sheldon Creed's second. The green ticker has gone away on the CW's broadcast, and it's because Creed has the fastest lap, so it's kind of got that icon blocking off for whatever reason the green. They can't throw it both on there. So 3 of the 4 Dash for Cash competitors that are still in the race, all in the top 10. Again, Creed second, Allgaier third, and Brent Cruz in sixth are the 3. Top 4 finishers from today's race will have a chance to go for the $100,000 bonus next week at Talladega as well. Carson Quapple on the pole to start this race, a flip on lap 2, a last place finish. He was the 4th of the 4 Dash for Cash competitors. So down to 3, has been for a while, continuing to put on a show. It was Brandon Jones who won the first 2 stages of today's race, but Taylor Gray, his teammate, taking over in stage 3 with a good pit strategy call to get them the lead, and now just trying to hold on for the long haul. From when they exited pit road, about 55, 56 laps to go. About 20 laps into that run. Needs to keep the tires underneath them. Cooler track temps will make it a little bit easier to do so, but that's what he's dealing with right now.
Jason is about Kansas. When they come here, they just elevate their game. And doing it tonight, on the backside of the start of this season where things have not always gone so well. I mean, William Sawallich gets his first career win at Rockingham, but across the board, they just have not been where they want to be. Taylor Gray's been consistent, but not a bunch of runs inside the team. And that's how they got where they are. And it was all about that pit call. He was third when the cycle began. They did 143. You see where everyone else is. You get those tires at equal speed, and that's why he's out front.
Yeah, I mean, we referenced, you see 3 laps difference between Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed, but at that point in the race, it was a 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap. Taylor was about 2 seconds behind. He came out 4 to 5 seconds in the lead, and now there's just not that same difference on the tires. So great call. See how this plays or runs out. Adam, you referenced a little bit ago, though, the 7 car of Justin Allgaier. And I was curious to see where he was running on the racetrack, and he seems to have migrated towards that high line, turning down just a little on exit as we get a look at our top 3 here. Justin slowly making up 2 to 3 tenths a lap. He was 6.5 seconds.
Yep, he was. Now he's 5 seconds back. He's been faster than Gray, lap over lap.
The accident looked like he might be back in the game. It worked his way to the top 10. We knew they were down a set of tires, had to make another unscheduled stop because they had a tire going down. Break for 17. Going to end his run of 8 consecutive top 10 finishes. Came in top 5 in points.
Before we had that green flag stop, that was the longest green flag run of the night. And, we're kind of in uncharted territory for this race of how many cautions we had those first 2 stages to knowing which cars are really the best on the long run. And I kind of think of these sorts of runs in 10-lap phases, especially with the amount of fall off we're seeing in these tires here at Kansas. We'll get more indications of who has the better car almost every 10 laps or so as we go through this run. And so that's where I think Justin Allgaier has been really fast now, but we'll see if he's able to continue that and could even get greater in terms of his speed difference to the leaders as we go through these 10-lap phases. And you look, the bumper across the bottom, I mean, it's down to 4.3 seconds now. It is flying. There's 30 laps to go. There's more than enough time if he keeps at this pace. If he can maintain that, it's going to be all about how Taylor and Sheldon Creed are able to get through the lap traffic.
And Gray is lapped up to 12. It won't be long. One of the guys he could see is his teammate Brandon Jones. And Brandon, no doubt, is going to do everything he can to hang on to the lead lap because he wants a caution to get himself back into the game. And all these guys up here have a set of tires. So if we were to get a caution, there's no doubt they would come back down, reset, and we'd have a big restart. We're going to take you back through the field. 29 laps to go. Taylor Gray is leading this thing. We begin our coverage with Dylan Welch.
It's interesting looking back on the notes on this 54 that I had for Kansas last fall. Chase Braxton teammate Good enough to win, but know the track will be different, and then we've got to keep up with it. Well, that's pretty appropriate for what they've had to do tonight as well. We didn't practice, but we told you how confident they were coming into this weekend. Knew there was going to be some challenges with the racetrack, but after running 6 NASCAR and being the lunch win in Las Vegas, they knew that they were going to be able to do exactly what they're doing tonight. They've had the car. We've told you about the pit crew strategy, the pit strategy that Jason Ratcliffe played. Now the question is going to be, will those extra 3 laps on tires make a difference at the end as he tries to hold off Sheldon Creed in second game?
You mentioned Sheldon Creed running in that second position, and we talked at the top of the broadcast way back how he's moved into the second position in the point standings. And when I talked to Chief Jonathan Tony, I asked kind of, what is the big picture here? What are they looking to do with the good start to the season they've had? And he said, we just want to keep the momentum. We're looking and aiming for 3-point days where they're on track for that or better here this afternoon. And he also said, look, Justin Allgaier and the 17 have set the bar. And now it's our job to meet it. We're trying to elevate everything we can. We've seen that tonight with Sheldon Creed currently running in P2, Dylan.
And it speaks to maybe how good the 7 team is right now. That third place, if that's where they end up today, might be considered a little bit disappointing, but it has been another fantastic showing, all things considered. Second most stage points and in position to go for their 7th straight top 5 finish this year. The balance got away from them, it seemed like, a little bit earlier tonight, but the long run, as always, it seems like is a strength for them tonight. He's closed in a little bit on the 0-0, and I think lap traffic Kim should help tighten that battle up for second even more. Actually, we'll stay with Jesse Love here, who wins in the paper spot. They are another team. We told you about Austin Hill, the RCR teammate that had just had a tough last month or so. They're another team that's had 4th straight out of the top 10. But Danny Stockman said that's not as bad as things maybe actually are. Last week they were really all that good at Bristol. Rockingham, they felt like they could have won. Martinsville, they just had some contact at the end that sent them down the leaderboard. So certainly some things to clean up, but just been one of those tough stretches. Right now, they're pushing him to just run that cut down line, especially 3 and 4, like the 54 car has been doing. They've been working on that all night. But too far, yeah.
Running into position at 88. Maybe it could be a little bit slightly with their night. Remember, he had an early incident, got the fence early as well as another car. And just, it's kind of battle managing what they need out of the handling of that race car all night long. But they told me coming into this race, look, we were not good here last year, despite Connor Zillage finishing second. And he was hoping that Williams Cup laps earlier in practice today might help them, even though the cars are different, because the rest of this field did not have practice yesterday. And again, Byron running in the 5th position. As we go to the 6th position, Frank Cruz again, a standout for that young rookie. And look, JTR has been so good here. Their expectations were very high, despite Frank making his first appearance on a track bigger than a mile. And look, Seth Cox has told me, we're averaging 31 points per race. Their goal is 30. They feel like they've had cars and the driver capable of 40-point days every weekend. That's where Britt has been in the car. Their goal outside of a raceway to make the chase. They feel like they're on target for that.
And now he's showing 16th in the standings, 65 below the playoff cut line, the chase cut line, talking about Brent Cruz. Right behind him on track, right of your screen, Sam Mayer is 7th. Cole Custer is 8th in the 0 right now. The man that won the championship in 2023 has seen a little bit of everything tonight, but finds himself in the top 10 late in this race.
At the front of this field, it is condensing. Sheldon Creed has been catching Taylor Gray, as we had great information from Dylan and Kim through the field. As Brent Cruz sidetracks here William Byron. Down into clears it. Low one up top.
Well, he's checking every box tonight. So impressive for Brent Cruz.
Think about last week. He's racing for the win with Connor Zillage and Kyle Larson, and this week racing for a top 5 position with William Byron. So impressive.
If he had done this after getting practice yesterday,
Yeah.
I maybe wouldn't have been surprised to do this and have not been on this racetrack until we went green today. Pretty remarkable.
Student of the game right there. Brent Cruz.
Is a pick. Who's able to complete the pass. 19 is now in 5th.
Just getting ready to say, if you're a Taylor Gray fan, I've got good news. and then they cross the start-finish line and changed my mind. And it slowed down a little bit where you see Sheldon Creed right there coming off turn 2. It's the next car behind Taylor Gray, and then Allgaier, there's one lap car in between them. And it finally started to slow down, and then Allgaier just came across 10th and a half, 2/10 quicker than those guys. It's almost like
19 laps to go this time by at the line. Taylor Gray with a 1.8-second lead. When he first cycled off of pit road, it was just over a 4-second lead to that of Sheldon Creed. Justin Allgaier was 6.5 seconds back, and he is now only 2.9 back in third. Allgaier's been the quickest car on the track, then Creed, then Gray, which is going to make for an interesting finish if this continues to stay green. Can Taylor Gray hold on? And if Taylor Gray can't hold on, who's going to get there first between Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier? Maybe Creed does get there first, and then Allgaier's got to battle both of them for the finish of this one. We're shaping up for a wild one over the next now 18 laps. The gap between first and second, again, still 1.8 seconds with Taylor Gray in the lead, Sheldon Creed in second, 2.9 still to Justin Allgaier in third. Now that last time at the line, it's 2.7 to Allgaier and 1.6 to Creed. Jesse Love is 8.5 seconds back and forth, and Brent Cruz just made a pass for fifth on Byron a couple laps ago. He's 9.2 seconds out of the lead, so that rounds out the rest of the top 5. It's a 3-horse race for the win if this race stays green. We're going to take our final break. You're listening live KRC, Kansas Lottery 300 at Kansas. New Nanny, thanks for tuning in. Yep, just over 50 likes on the stream. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. We're at 54 on the night thus far. And we're setting up for the finish. Taylor Gray, Sheldon Creed, Justin Allgaier. And for Creed and Allgaier, they're also battling for that $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus. To be the highest finishing driver of the 4 eligible for the Dash for Cash this evening. Taylor Gray with a win would be eligible to go for the $100,000 bonus next weekend in Talladega. It's quite a bit of lap traffic up ahead of Taylor Gray. There's a pack of 4 cars he's going to be catching. If not this lap, probably the next. And how quickly is he going to be able to get by them? And not only how quickly is he going to be able to get by them, but is he going to have to move off of the wall to make those passes? Maybe not on everybody, but I would assume most of them he's going to have to do that. Right now he's already moving off the wall to try to get a little clean air on the nose as he gets closer to those cars. He ran the middle groove through 3 and 4. Top lane for Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier, and Creed's only about a second and a half back now. And under 2.5 for Allgaier. And again, lap car up in front of him. Brennan Poole in the 44, running the wall. Through 1 and 2, Greg goes to the middle of the lower line. I'm sure that was not the case for Creed and Allgaier running the top. Creed now 1.3 seconds back. Greg to the inside of the lap car, Brennan Poole. All the way down to the white line this time in the center of the corner. He is clear on exit, but again, another corner off of the wall. That preferred and fastest line, especially on the longer green flag runs as the tires start to fade here at Kansas. It's about a lane to a lane and a half off the wall run in the middle now. Sheldon Creed going to have to run that same line now that he's closing in on Brennan Poole. Creed is less than a second out of the lead now, and he is closing fast after Taylor Gray. Each of these two have one career win in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Then you got Justin Allgaier, who's tied inside the top 10 all-time in this series, nearing the top 5 all-time on the win list for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. 3 of those wins this year for Allgaier, looking for a 4th. Sheldon Creed, middle to upper groove, able to make a pass on the lap car of Poole. That was actually Raja Karuth in the 32 who he just got around. Not many cars on the lead lap, just 10 of them. Dean Thompson just went a lap down in that 11th place position. He was one of those 4 group lap cars in front of the leaders. So Ryan Segan, 10th place, the last car in the lead lap. If we go green to the end, it'll be a 95-lap green flag run after the longest green flag run in the first half of the race together was 19 laps. Two completely different races that has led for two completely different drivers to dominate those said races. The restarts and pit stops, it was all Brandon Jones in the first half. Had the pit road penalty under green. He was right there with Sheldon Creed on his back bumper entering pit road. He could be where Creed's running now, if not better, with how strong that 20 car's been all night. But taken out of things and taken out of contention, and now is a lap down because of that speeding penalty, or not, sorry, speeding penalty, but the penalty that he ended up having for the uncontrolled tire. He was tail end of the lead lap. He has made up time, because I believe at one point he was 29 seconds out of the lead. Now he's about 23 seconds back, but still in ninth place. Good news is there aren't a lot of cars on the lead lap, so that could lead to maybe an alternating strategy where he maybe could go for 2 tires or 4 and give himself a chance with a restart. 10 laps to go. At the Kansas Speedway, a 1 second lead for Gray over Creed. Gray able to extend that lead a bit. He was about 7/1000ths of a second faster than Creed the last lap. And he was actually about 800ths faster than Justin Allgaier the last time by as well. So picking up the pace a bit is at 54 as the pay window is opening. And the checkered flag looming. 9 laps left for Taylor Gray as he drafts behind a car. A lapper, that is, through the tri-oval. He'll have to pull out of the top lane of the track to make this pass. Creed running the wall. Now a little bit off of it goes Creed. Kind of a similar line to that of Taylor Gray. Gray couldn't make the pass on the lap car, though, and that slowed him up through 1 and 2. Brennan Poole giving him fits. Back of the 54 car stepping out from underneath him. He is very loose in the middle of the lower line of the track again through 3 and 4. So 2 corners in a row. He is not able to get by the 44 Brennan Poole and put that car another lap down. And again, Poole up near the wall, taking Gray's line away. And here comes Sheldon Creed. Right to the inside of the lapper off turn 2. Creed closing in. You could see on the aerial shot just how much ground he's making up down this back straightaway. Creed will go to the wall again through 3 and 4. The back of the 54 car looks way more free and yawed out through the center of the corner than that of Sheldon Creed. And that doesn't matter whether the 54 is running the middle or the top of the racetrack. And it's both the same in turns 1 and 2 as it is 3 and 4 also. Creed gets that car pointed all the way down to the white line. It's his chance now to try to get by Poole as quickly as he can. Justin Allgaier, don't forget about him in third, only 1.1 seconds out of the lead now. Creed within a half a second with 6 laps to go at the line. Creed clear of the lapper Poole out of turn 4. Allgaier now going to have to get by him next within the next lap or so. If the 00 and 54 get to battling early, that might be Justin Allgaier's best chance to catch up. But if that doesn't happen, his job is going to be much harder. He's hoping Creed at least gets a shot at it here in the closing laps. Can Gray handle the pressure late? 3-lap Boulder tires not really going to do much of a difference here, especially this far into the run. Allgaier not able to get by Poole through 3 and 4 to the bottom of the racetrack that time, and he loses ground to the top 2 cars in front of him. It's still stuck behind the lapper down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. I'm not quite sure why Brennan Poole didn't get out of the way of the leaders. He was already a lap down. And he was running the top, kind of forcing each of the top 3 to go to the bottom to get by him. Poole 2 laps down in 19th place right now. I could maybe see if he was tail end of the lead lap, knowing there are only 10 cars on the lead lap. But it's hindered the progress for each of these top 3. At least he did the same thing to each driver and not like held up the leader and then got out of the way of everybody else. I don't know how much of this is the 54 maybe mirror driving on the 00, but they've both been running similar lines. Creed going all the way to the bottom of the racetrack on the white line through 3 and 4 this time. Gray started to the top, but he didn't stay there. He cut to the bottom in the middle of the corner, and Sheldon Creed was able to close in another car length or so through 3 and 4. Creed's running out of time fast, though. Only 3 laps to go. And the separation's about 3 to 4 car lengths. Another lap car down around the bottom of the racetrack. I believe that's the 45 of LeVar Scott. Gray races by into turns 3 and 4 this time, coming to 2 to go. Creed really backing up the entry through 3 and 4. It looked like Gray was able to roll the entry deeper on throttle than Creed. Still got back to the gas at a decent spot and all the way around. It looked like Taylor Gray actually gapped the 00 a bit. Has extremely gapped the 7, who really struggled to get by Poole a few laps ago, because now Allgaier went from about 1 second out of the lead back to 1.8. And they'll be coming around to the white flag this time by. No caution to this point in the run. We stay green. Taylor Gray through 3 and 4 for the second consecutive lap will gap Creed just a bit more. Less pressure on Taylor Gray than what he was facing just a couple laps ago. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Gray. Pit strategy call to get him the lead. He managed his tires, managed the car well enough late in the run. All run long, really, not just late in the run. Creed, desperation move, going all the way as close to the wall as he can through 1 and 2, but he's just lost too much ground over the last lap and a half to 2 laps that he is too far back to have any sort of a shot here. He'll go to the bottom of the track, but he's still about 7-8 car lengths off the lead, and Taylor Gray exits turn 4, will get career win number 2 in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and season win number 1 in 2026. Margin of victory about 0.7 of a second for Taylor Gray over Sheldon Creed. JGR dominating the night with Brandon Jones winning the first 2 stages and leading the most laps. A tie for the second most laps led between Gray and Creed, each leading 48. Allgaier didn't lead any laps today. He finishes 3rd. Jesse Love with 1 lap led finishes 4th. And Brett Cruz rounds out the top 5 in 5th. William Byron 6th. Cole Custer finished in 7th with a quietly good run. Brandon Jones in 8th after having the uncontrolled tire penalty taking him out of it in this final wave of green flag pit stops in the final 50 laps after winning the first 2 stages. And in total today, leading over 90 laps. 67 laps led. I was thinking it was 90. It was 60 out of the first 90 that he was able to lead the first 2 stages. So 67 laps led today for Brandon Jones, most in the race. And 9th place finish for Sam Mayer. Ryan Sieg, again, last car in the lead lap, but finishes with a top 10 in 10th. And he had a couple spins today. One coming to pit road, one trying to miss a wreck. And he still finishes 10th on the lead lap. Dean Thompson in 11th, first car lap down. Corey Day had some damage, got in the wall a few times. Car probably wasn't acting the same after that. He did lead for 26 laps early in the race. He finishes 12th. Jeb Burton in 13th, Patrick Start-Pulley 14th, and Jeremy Clements at 15th. 16th for Sammy Smith, Josh Williams 17th, LeVar Scott 18th, Brendan Poole 19th, and 20th, William Sawalich with severe damage from an earlier incident. So honestly, even a top 20 impressive for that team, all things considered, with what was dealt after the damage in the crash with Austin Hill back at stage 1. Raji Kruth finishes 21st, Ryan Ellis 22nd, Blaine Perkins 23rd, Nathan Bird 24th, and Kyle Segan 25th. Josh Balicki 26th, 27th Joey Gase, Harrison Burton 28th, Dawson Cram on back DNF tonight, so 9 DNFs total. Dawson Cram finishing 29th, Anthony Alfredo 30th, Blake Lothian 31st, Austin Green 32nd, Mason Maggio 33rd, Austin Hill 34th. Mechik crashed out in stage 1 after contact with his teammate, nonetheless, of Jesse Love. Then Luke Baldwin 35th, and then, of course, that lap 2 scary crash with Parker Retzlaff and Carson Kvapil. Kvapil getting airborne and barrel rolling down the back straightaway. Luckily, he is okay. He'll finish last with Retzlaff 37th for Kvapil. Taylor Gray celebrating on the front stretch here at the Kansas Speedway on top of his car, now going to capture that checkered flag, and we'll get an interview with him shortly. 7 cautions in today's race, 11 lead changes, 37 laps under yellow, and a 95-lap green flag run to end things off here tonight. Sheldon Creed wins the dash for cash and the $100,000 bonus. First, he is with Kim Kuhn.
Chevrolet, and just appreciate everyone that's supporting us this year. Hendrick Engines have been awesome. Appreciate Gene Haas and Haas Automation, Joe Custer. Just yeah, everyone that's been supporting us. It's been a really good start to our season. It's been a lot of fun on track. Fast cars are fun to drive.
And you don't walk away empty-handed. You got the $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus. What does that mean? What kind of statement does that make? Just what this team is capable of.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. I feel like we're just working really good together right now, and just going in tonight, you're racing the 1, the 7, and the 19 for it. Knew it was gonna be tough, but yeah, just really cool to be able to bring $100,000 back home to the Haas factory team, and yeah, just gonna keep working hard and try to keep clicking off these finishes. I definitely wanted to win and add to it, but yeah, the 54 team just did a really good job short and hitting us, and he just ran a really good 40 laps there and got through traffic quick and made it to where I never really got close enough.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sheldon Creek comes home with his 7th straight top 10 finish this season, his 4th straight top 5 finish here at Kansas.
Taylor Gray already on his way back to pit road, or not pit. Well, he's on pit road, but he's headed back to victory lane. But the Sunoco checkered flag stuck in the wedge adjuster. Who was the first driver to do that? I remember it was so goofy way back when. Now I see like everybody do it. I want to know who the originator of sticking the checkered flag in the wedge adjuster is. Everything's fun when you're winning, isn't it? All right, well, still awaiting the interview with our race winner. Those final race statistics that I was going over there, again, 7 cautions, 11 lead changes, 95 lap green flag run to the checkered, 37 laps under yellow out of the 200. We finish under the regulation length of 300 miles, 200 laps, 2 hours, 33 minutes, 54 seconds. That does not include the 12-minute and 9-second red flag for that lap 2 crash with Carson Quapple and Parker Retzlaff. And here is your race winner in Mobile One Victory Lane, Taylor Gray. I'll actually catch back up with the live broadcast here in a second. I did have to rewind that for the Sheldon Creed interview, so it might actually... There we go.
Jason made a really good adjustment on the car, really good pickle, and got us that clean air. So I can't thank everybody enough. But yeah, it's been a long start to the year, man. Not that we're not bringing speed to the racetrack, it's just things haven't really gone our way. So it's nice to finally be able to close one out. What was the toughest part of those closing laps? A lot of things you kind of had to balance, it seems like. Yeah, I knew the 00 was starting to catch me. I started to get a little snug trying to turn down the hill. It seemed like he was on the freer side. I just knew I had to navigate lap traffic better than he could and get him to heat up his rears to try to catch me. So, and I think he ended up, getting the wall there towards the end. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun race. It was, it's good beer. Well done, Taylor Gray, back in victory lane. He's the winner at Kansas.
Congrats to Taylor Gray. Again, second career win in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He got his first at Martinsville last fall. Open the floodgates. Here's win number 2. First of the season for Taylor Gray as well. Should vault him up in the point standings just a bit. Came into this race, I believe, just inside the chase cut line. So now got to give him a little extra breathing room, perhaps. Thank you all so much for watching not only this stream, but the Cup Practice, the qualifying stream that went on earlier tonight as well. We'll be live for the NASCAR Cup Series race tomorrow, and that will be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, also at the Kansas Speedway there for the Advent Health 400. So again, Kansas tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, a little earlier start time for that. with our pre-race coverage. Hope to see you for that and much more throughout the course of the rest of the NASCAR season in 2026. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everybody. Stay safe. See you tomorrow afternoon.